What's up?
What?
Hello.
I was counting on that going on for a while longer. Hello.
That
What's
it
up?
went like so long that you're like, oh, it's gonna keep going, and then I stopped.
Mhm.
Basically, the
us.
worst possible time.
You got us.
Yeah. You did.
Marine.
See, that's
I-
psychological. I was reading your guys' mind. It's
Here,
actually
Welcome
I-
with the
autistic.
co-host, the narwhal style.
Yeah, it was so purely not tuned into your guys' vibes that it was uncanny.
That's what makes. That's what makes for the a good stream. No
Yeah.
organization or vibes.
No syncope of vibe.
We're getting it started that way.
Yes,
I have something right
you're-
off the bat because I had a few quick little things. Then we'll pepper in some week stuff. I missed last week. I was in Portland for a little funeral of sorts, but
Aw.
nothing super sad or anything. But,
Was it a funeral for a friend?
A funeral? Nothing super sad.
yeah, well, it was for my 95-year-old grandpa.
Oh,
It's
Aww.
not like super sad because
Aw.
he's so old. He wanted to go.
Okay, that's
he lived a long life. That's what. If there's one thing we can say about him, is he lived a long life.
Yeah.
He
I
was
was
well.
like, I call him Opa. I was like, Opa, you got to make it to 100. He's like, no.
No.
That was basically the last time I talked to him.
Aw.
I don't want to make any jokes, but there's loads of jokes coming in. I don't want to make any comments about your grandpa.
Yeah, because I'll be offended if you do.
Yeah.
No, I
Isn't that well,
can't make any jokes.
I wasn't gonna make a joke, but doesn't matter.
I just want to talk about that photo of Jimmy Carter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it might be a little bit like that. I don't know.
Oh.
But,
Well, how was the town?
What, Portland?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. It's actually better than when I lived there. It seems like it's fine these days. I don't know. Although my cousin, he's had his car stolen 4 times, and it's been 2 different cars, or maybe 3 even. But
Wow.
over the
Oh,
course of
that's
like
not-
two years.
That sounds fine. That sounds like the definition of fine. Yeah.
It sounds like the town's doing good.
It's kind of like, why are you still living there? Yeah, do something about it, buddy.
Does he have
He's
the
in a
Seth
band,
Rogen opinion of his car break-in?
Ooh, say that again.
Does he have a Seth Rogen approach to his own car being broken in?
Oh, no, he's a little more based than most Portlanders. He didn't get vaccinated, so we bonded over that. But he
Nice
doesn't
job.
really give me satisfaction. He's like very, I don't know. He's like pompous or something.
Oh.
So it annoys me. I'm like, yo, let's bond over not getting vaxxed. And he's like, oh, yeah, is that what you think? I'm like, that's what you think too, right? And he's like, yeah.
So he's like base, but too bro.
And Brody's
Well, I
bro.
didn't mean to give my bro voice. I don't know. He's
I
not exactly
don't know
bro.
what that was.
He's like smoking a pipe, like a
Okay.
corn cob pipe.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Popeye.
Yeah. Hey, kick.
Ah,
Um,
Jake, can you do a Popeye?
I like doing Popeye gibberish.
Yeah.
It's
Good, dude.
Like when he gets really angry, he's like,
Yeah.
I was freaking. Actually, Popeye isn't that far removed from fucking Stewie Griffin. You just go, curse you, skid vile, skid woman. I don't know. It's a little different, but yeah.
Man of many
Does
voices.
Popeye fuck Olive? What sounds do you think he makes when he's fucking Olive? Do you think he's like,
I don't want to know or think about that.
yeah. And then Olive's like,
Things
"Woo,
I didn't need to think about.
do you think halfway through he pops a can of
God.
spinach and she's like, oh!
not the spinach."
Yeah, like it turns into a fist. It's
That the
It's like carnal, basically.
yes.
Okay, so a few these are some random things, but on Twitter people were talking about Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, and then
Oh, he's
apparently
the real hero.
Yeah, that's the spin. He's like the literally me type character where you can watch it with this new lens where he's the good guy, Beast is the bad guy, and Belle is like stupid, I guess. and and
Yeah.
that most people like they're like it doesn't hold up to scrutiny, and they're kind of from what I read, and they were breaking it down. But just the thought of it was making me chuckle, and I don't know. It's like what it's like because the Beast sucks too for the entire movie until the very end. He's like apparently good at the end, I think, and then
Well,
Belle chooses him.
The part of the thing with the Beauty and the Beast, you're like, oh, why did all the people in the castle get fucked over? Why did they get turned into like pots and pans and shit? But the idea is they're the ones that raised him and turned him into a little shit. So like they're being punished as well for how they raised him to be that way.
Yeah,
Apparently.
yeah, but it's like so Gaston is like kind of rude or whatever and bro style, and
Yeah.
Belle denies him, and then like the super rude brooding guy, then she's like, ooh, I like this guy,
Mhm.
I can fix him or whatever, and so I don't know, and I don't know if Gaston is like incel or because he has the girls actually. He's like supposedly he could get any girl in the town, but he wants Belle, and she's
Right.
like no.
He won't
So he's
go
not
for the
exactly
whores. He's like purposely trying to go for the high class woman, and not the floozies. Like he's accomplished, he's competent. He's the good, the real good
he's
guy.
maybe a little entitled, but is he entitled? Like maybe he's entitled.
He knows how to sing. I mean, that's
Yeah,
one big
I
plus.
kind of want to rewatch it under this new lens. I'm like, is Gaston actually the good guy? That's hilarious. You know, one that's kind of like that. They were talking about The Office. It's the girl that's dating Jim when Jim denies her to eventually get with Pam. Do you know who I'm talking
Mhm.
about? I forget her name.
Yeah, the
If
like
you guys
beige.
don't know, it doesn't
She's
really
like the
matter.
beige colored woman, right?
Yeah, she's pretty. Yeah, the actress, and but yeah, it's funny because if you can watch it with this other lens of like, wait, what did she do wrong ever? She completely gets manipulated and screwed by Jim, like completely. Uh,
Hmm.
and it's like, damn, I feel sorry for her.
Hmm.
So her and Gaston need to get together, basically.
Oh,
Was that the dynamic that she got
Jim,
screwed over by Jim?
Yeah, I mean, you can watch it with that lens, and it kind of does hold up a little bit. You're like, oh, what? Because I think
That's
when
funny.
people watch it, they're like, oh yeah, Jim and Pam, Jim and Pam, Jim and Pam. But then if you rewatch it, you're like, wait a minute, Jim just totally screwed this really nice woman.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, for Pam, who was pretty plain, if you ask me.
I'm not gonna comment on Pam's looks.
Why? Because you'd cool.
Because he's obsessed.
Have like posters all over my wall about trying to Pam from The Office. Like it's just off the camera. Like,
You know
oh
what?
god.
What her greatest legacy is the meme where it says, "Corporate needs you to tell the difference between these two photos," and she
Right.
says, "They're the same picture."
It's such a
like-
good meme.
That's the only thing she's known for.
Wait, who's Gaston in that situation though? Is Jim Gaston?
Maybe. I don't know. I think Gaston is mostly like the girl who got screwed, possibly.
Yeah.
Which is not exactly true, but that's potentially.
Because no one's as slick as Gaston, and no one's as quick as Gaston, and no one's neck is incredibly thick as Gaston's.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna replace the
And did you know the original story has no Gaston? That's another interesting thing. So they added him
Wow.
for
That's
some
hard.
reason to the story. And why they added him, because he serves a purpose. So this is what some of the thread is like, what purpose does he serve? Why did they add him? And it's like, he's kind of like, I don't know, he's there to lead the mob at the end and be the jealous boy, spurned dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe gives the mob a little bit more, because that's the thing. Mobs can be very cheesy. It's
Yeah.
really hard to ever think of a mob that isn't a joke. It's always a joke. Except for like maybe like Frankenstein, like when he killed the child and the mob
The
comes
Elephant
after
Man.
him. Oh, is there a
Yeah.
mob in that one?
Pretty
Every
sure.
3 episodes of every third episode of The Simpsons has the entire town as a mob.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's hilarious. But it is like, I realized because I was thinking about putting a mob in one of my stories, and I was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't know how you do it.
The South Park does the same thing. The rabble mob. Like I don't know. I want to work in a mob.
Yeah.
I want an angry mob that just is completely ineffectual and they all get killed. Like in Connell, they all come into the Simonian forest, like, we need to get that motherfucker and bring him out into town. And they all just like constantly fall into spider webs and get trampled by centaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they used to do lynch mobs. Remember that?
Yeah, remember that, guys?
Remember the days?
Come on,
good
you
old
guys used to do
days.
that too, right?
That was a thing, right?
Maybe
Yeah.
for you guys.
Yeah.
It's
They,
different.
Oh, hush.
they did
Sure.
mobs. What did they call it?
English
Mob
is funny.
justice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What were you saying, Brady? Sorry.
I was saying I'm sure the British aren't
British.
clean on mob justice. British.
We
Our
learned
mobs
it from you,
organized.
Dad. We learned it from you.
We had witch burnings. They're a lot more organized.
Mm.
Yeah. It's
Well,
not
we
a
had
mob, you'd
those
say.
too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no
Yeah.
one knows about your witches.
The British witches, the hags, the bog hags, the hag of the bog.
Bog
Yeah.
Skags. It's a band.
There was mobs in Portland a few years ago, and they were unruly and they were comedic in a way. Although
They
it's,
were, yeah, they're comedic for sure.
yeah.
Daylight says Britain had angry mobs multiple times this year. There's a cycle.
But I was thinking with the Portland thing, it was a little bit like they would actually organize, and that was funny. But they're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about mobbing tonight. Anyone else want to?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm in. All right, meet me at blah 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 at 10 o'clock, and we'll get a mob going. All right, let's do it." And then like they'll be like, "I got a friend coming over from the other town. Like people are traveling across state lines to just mob, dude. We're stoked. We're gonna steal some shit, whatever. Get some TVs, whatever."
Yeah.
You know, it's not mob related, but it's like mob adjacent. Actually, in the UK, in like the 70s, around that era, like football hooliganism was like organized. They would plan to meet at places and beat the shit out of each other.
Oh, yeah,
Like a fight club, like a football-based fight
Yeah.
club.
like a gang fight, like the what's that musical? That's
Gangs of New York, which is terrible.
no, is that a musical?
Is
No, what's the other one? Clockwork Orange.
What? No. West Side Story is what I'm thinking of. The two gangs, they meet somewhere just to fight at like specific times.
Speaking of musicals, Phil, are you the only person who's watched Joker 2?
No, why would I watch that tripe?
We thought if anyone would have watched it, it would have been you. Because
I think
watched
that
it.
movie had some mob aspects. It should have had more, maybe.
Yeah,
didn't
I
have
mean,
a lot.
I wasn't really into the first one as much as a lot of people. So I saw no reason. But remember 15 years ago when everybody was into flash mobs?
Flash mobs.
That was kind of like real mobs. They organized also. Mobs have
Yeah.
to be kind of organized.
Do you not
If you could
remember
have a
Flash
mob that
Oh
was like
yeah,
not
it was-
organized, that just comes out of like the ether, that would be a pretty earnest mob.
They even tried to do a TV show, like a reality TV show called Flash Mobs, hosted by Howie Mandel, where these people
Isn't
would
it-
just randomly choreograph, started dancing, and randomly.
isn't it illegal to do that? There was like a phase. I think
I
that
don't
was. You know what? That was pre-pandemic, and that might have been the precursor to all those fucking nurses dancing in the hospitals because it was like the tail end of that culture.
Maybe
Oh wow.
that was
Yeah,
embarrassing.
2020, the ultimate flash mob in every hospital across the world.
Yeah. And then one other quick thing to talk about is the remake of Silent Hill 2 came out this week. And depending on whether or not you guys know more about this, we might talk about it more, but I kind of feel like you guys might not, so we'll go kind of fast. But Masahiro Ito is like the guy who designed Pyramid Head,
Yeah.
genius Japanese designer. And Pyramid Head is infamous and a like awesome character, but there's a scene in the original where people were claiming that he's raping these other enemies, that you walk in on him raping the other enemies. They're like these
The
nurses or
nurses?
whatever.
Oh,
And it's
Yeah, I
like
hope
totally effed up. And it's like, you're like, damn, I can't believe this is in a video game. And it's like scary. What the hell? Why is this boss like raping the other characters? But Masahiro Ito's like, they kind of cut that a little bit or toned it a little down in the remake, and people are like, oh, censorship, blah blah blah. And Masahiro Ito is like, it wasn't rape in the first one either. Like, you guys are stupid. You're pissing me off. He's like, it was abuse. He was abusing them. He's like, if you really want to interpret it, like everyone can interpret it. He's like, but I'm telling you, as the creator and like the co-writer of the story and because all in Silent Hill, all the creatures mean something. And I was thinking it actually, because I was on Team Rape for a while, but I moved on to the other team.
not a great thing to say out loud.
Oh my god!
Yes. Most of there are
In
a
a
lot
video
of
game.
women,
Thank fuck this is not on my channel.
there are a lot of women with a soft spot for Pyramid
Damn.
Head, and that could be part of it.
Yeah, but like, so
Sing
what
silent.
what Ito says, and what I heard too, is that Pyramid Head, he's actually, from a weird perspective, he's kind of like a good guy. He's one of these, he's a force that is trying to lead James to discovering the truth. And if James doesn't get it, Pyramid Head is going to kill him. So he's trying to kill James, but the enemies don't represent James learning the truth. So Pyramid Head hates the other enemies. So that's like a little enemy of my friend thing. And that makes a lot more sense, rather than, it would actually be redundant, because some of the beauty of the game is that James's sexual frustration from his time when his wife was on her deathbed plays out, in the game, but it doesn't play out through Pyramid Head raping other enemies. It plays out through Maria appearing, who's like an overly sexualized version of James's wife. And all this stuff is like super interesting. They say Silent Hill 2 is like the best game ever made, kind of. I don't know, but the remake was great. Except, so there's some other little news real quick, is that there is what your boy Zach calls the birthday party clowns. Not all of them that you might think, but they're out there saying that, oh, it's for modern audiences. It sucks. They killed it and ruined everything, and that's not true. But that, like, the development team did use one of the like woke consulting firms or whatever.
Yeah.
But they released the trailer like last May, and there was some like terrible shit from the wokeness. And it got such a big backlash. It was like Sonic the Hedgehog, So they undid all of it. So it's back to being fine. I don't know. So that's kind of a little bit what's
I
happening.
saw Dr. Disrespect was playing it today.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. And I saw one video, they're like, it can never beat the original, which is like kind of true, but it's good. Like, the remake's good. But the reason they're saying the original has awesome cinematography, and the remake, it's all over the shoulder. So there kind of is no cinematography, and that's a way different storytelling thing. Like, it's actually in some ways more scary to not have cinematography, because you're just kind of immersed in the game or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's just over the shoulder. But the cinematography is something that's lost, that's really fun about Silent Hill.
What was it before? Was
Before
it
it
locked
was like
Resident Evil locked camera?
Yeah, and they would do some, not exactly over the shoulder, but if you're in a big open street, they just follow behind you, I think. But
Silent Hill.
Well, whatever quote makes it into your mouth in the meme at the end of the show, we all know what it should have been.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
That's your get out of jail free card, Alex, to not have to put it in. We can just say what it should have been.
yeah.
Good start.
I mean, are you gonna let him get away with that like that? I mean,
Well, if it's you pressuring him,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. It's
Do
okay.
what you
I
need
will.
to do,
I will
Alex.
not abuse my co-host like that.
I see we got Wilberforce Rooster in the chat. Good to see you. Geek Hazo.
Hi,
Hazu.
chat.
Dale
Hello,
A.
everybody.
Michael Disha.
yeah. Dale A was asking in the chat earlier about, like, can we get a monster check on Jake? I've only drank two.
Today or
Yeah,
In
today
the last hour.
I happen to have drank 2 today. I've been off them since yanking that tooth out of my head. By the way, I don't have the fragment anymore,
the tooth
but
is missing?
I am another tooth. The original crackling tooth, another piece removed. This time I had to use a pair of pliers to get it out myself. I performed some auto dentistry, went very well.
Christ,
And I'm in less pain. But yeah, I have had 2 monsters, but I combined it with a new
bro,
lead poisoning.
are you mixing
you-
G Fuel in with Monster?
Listen, if you want to be a real master of energy drinks,
Why?
Wait.
What are
you'll
you doing?
you'll take a standard energy drink and you'll put in a different flavor.
And you wonder why you're forced to rip
Are you-
teeth out of your own head?
Are you
Listen.
just what? So you could draw longer for longer hours or what?
It does get you in the zone.
AutoZone?
Yeah,
Get
the
in the
auto
zone.
dentistry zone.
AutoZone.
You don't
Dude,
get that.
that's
'cause
good-
they
good
don't have
jingle.
AutoZone in the UK probably.
Is that like a carb thing?
Yeah, it's a car place. Their jingle is "Get in the zone, AutoZone."
Yep.
Everybody laughed.
So then I have a little slide presentation, and then we can funk around with Chat GPT a little bit and maybe do some co-writing stuff. But
We gotta talk
but
about
the
our
presentation
weekend,
is
our
like
week.
sort of related to that. What'd you say?
Yeah.
We gotta talk about our
We're
weeks
just
first.
roll.
Phil had a great week. He really wants to.
No,
talk
that's what I was
about.
gonna say. But before I do that, you cut me off. Before I do that, how was your week, Phil?
Yeah, no week for you. Phil. No week for you.
I was
We're
a
going.
little
Yeah,
too
Phil.
a little too quick there. I'll go last then, I guess. I'm sorry.
Okay. What did I miss? How was last week? Let's go over that for an hour.
Just lots of fucking work.
Bancroft was on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
we did a
The
draw
Lucent was great. I finally read it. I feel bad I didn't read it sooner. It's great.
Wow.
Oh, we
probably
just
read it
drew.
at
It was
the
the
perfect
drawstring.
The Lucent is
Uh,
very good.
Jake, how's your launch coming? The art you posting's looking good. Except
Thank
every
you.
time you post something, I'm like, print it out, blue line, and ink it. But I'm just joking.
Redraw it, bitch. Come
Yeah.
on. You can do even better. No, yeah, I've been coloring. I was thinking about how to structure the trailer today. I even I have like this theme tune, this AI generated. Funny that we're doing AI stuff this week. I have the AI generated music theme tune for Connell, and the service that does it, they've released covers. So you can take one you've already generated and you can make like a different style cover of it. So now I have like emotional, heartfelt versions of the same track. I've got like new metal, heavy metal, 80s style versions of it. And like they could totally be like an Into the Connellverse thing where it's like flashing through different versions of it,
Why
and it
does he have-
changes style
why-
of music every time.
Why is covers like a feature? Are you able to put real music in and have them do a cover version of it?
I don't know, but it's for taking one you've already generated and doing another one of it, a cover of one you've already done.
Interesting.
It's been very fun. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, I've been doing some auction stuff. Like last week, we did a draw stream, which was like the bit was redesigning characters, but the joke was I'm just doing Connell versions of a bunch of characters.
Yeah, show that up. Can you blow it up, Narwhal?
Yeah.
I'm auctioning this off this Saturday. It's like, look, there's like a Hyper Wizard. Oh, there he is. There's a Hyper Wizard, Thomas the Tank Engine Connell, Guts Connell,
Hey.
Sonic Connell, Mario Connell.
That's really nice. Now scan it in, print it out, blue line, and ink it.
Well,
These great pencils.
This is, there even is a fabled official Peony version.
Peony.
Hey, there's Homer.
Arnold.
Oh, there's Cartman. Nice.
Yeah, look, he's drinking a can of Buff instead of Duff.
She's so
'Cause he's
buff.
so muscular. But yeah, I'll be
Alex BRB says, I want Gnarl's interpretation of last week's meme. I don't know. If you guys can pull it up, I'll look at it, but we'll do that later.
pull it up. But yeah, other than that, like just a lot of work. In fact, I could show you something I showed off today. I'm doing the Sketchy Starts book again, which is kind of like the layouts book, and I finished the cover last night. And if I copy image address, paste it into here, and then I can share it over here, and then you can pull it up. Look, there we go. So this is the cover to Connell Sketchy Starts numero uno instead of number 0, which is the one other people got. So yeah, this is like the side book. This is the one that people already have. This is 0.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And so this
So it's just it just a new cover for the same book?
No. This is like an issue 0 art book with extra stuff in it. And basically Sketchy Starts, the official number 1 is just going to be like the rough pencils and character designs. It's not going to have the extra stuff. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
It'll be the entire book this time instead of just a preview.
I love the middle leg there is hilarious.
Yeah.
He's doing the Nixon peace sign fingers too, right? Isn't that Richard Nixon that did those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's gonna be dope. Yeah, I saw you were streaming today. Finally.
Yeah, very clusterfuck of a stream. I need to get my head in order. I rush too much and I trip over myself, but it's been fun to stream. I'll stream more when I can. But yes, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Phil.
You need to watch High School Musical and get your head in the game.
I'll make sure to do that. I think if I'm gonna watch it, I'll probably try and watch it at least 5 times on a loop.
Yeah, just have it playing.
To really get my head in the game.
Oh, it's Irene's turn to say what she did this week.
Rini, how was your week?
I got a little excited.
He really wants to talk about his week, guys. Wow, I love it. Go. Yeah, I think he did have a good week. Oh, hey! Saw that on the stream. I am also scrambling to get stuff done for the auction. Let's see. How was my week? 'Twas good. I will say things are, in general, looking up. I'm very happy. Because I'm getting lots of work done. A bunch of real life stuff just got cleared out of the way, so I'm very happy with that. And now I am mired in work, but I like being mired in work. I'm being busy as long as I know what I have to do. So I have an auction at the same time slot as Jake on Red Valkyrie's channel, 4 p.m. this Saturday. And then next week I'm doing New York Comic Con. So I'm busy as fuck. But everything's in order. I got a new banner, new prints, and everything. Yeah. Ooh, I have a lot to show off. Let's see. What should I start with? Yeah, I'm gonna probably be drawing a lot today, so pardon me. But I will start by showing off. This is what I did on Creative Block last week.
So sick.
Nice.
It's a Venomized Berserker armor. It turned out a lot better than I expected. Wow, I guess I should design things on the fly more. But yeah, that turned out pretty cool, right? That's like the Berserker armor from Berserk, duh. I like drawing Venom things. Venom and Deadpool are some of the few superhero things I actually do like drawing because they're barely superheroes. They're like cool undead symbiote things.
People love buying Venomized characters, by the way. Like
I love drawing. Here's my plan. I'm actually working. I need to finish my auction pieces first, but Sunday I'm gonna just whip up some Venomized stuff, like a couple of cute characters like Harley Quinn or whatever, and like just Venomized portraits for New York Comic Con because I don't want to take floor commissions because that always sucks because I don't get to enjoy the show. I'm just going to have original art there. I got prints, got all my books, of course, and I'm going to have just original art ready to go. So I'll get a bunch of those done and post those. But yeah, super excited about that. Let's see. Ooh, and I guess I haven't shown this anywhere. I'm about to do like a proper video, but why don't why don't you guys, the people watching now, are the most dedicated viewers of Creative Block. You're all the true friends of the show, so I trust your opinion. I have a special book I want to show you.
Special book.
And yes. So, as I had mentioned before, I've been doing
my God.
translations of Fiendish. I've been in translations, and a while ago I showed off the Spanish edition of Fiendish 1 that I brought to the Mexico convention, right? I printed a ultra limited Japanese edition of Fiendish. This is not Fiendish 1, it's both 1 and 2. Look, it's real thick. It's like 100 something pages because it's both chapters. It's digest size, so it's like a large manga size, and it is indeed in Japanese.
Oh.
Wait, how many is there? How many is there?
There are only 10 copies. I only printed 10. This is not going to be what the final tankobon looks like. This is because I managed to get in an event in New York that's taking place at the same time that I'm going to be there for New York Comic Con. So the Vinland Saga creator is doing a signing, and I got into the signing or whatever, and I don't know if they're gonna let us give him stuff, but I'm like, I want to be able to gift him one of my Fiendish books, and I had the Japanese edition done anyway, so I rush printed this with Mixum. There are only 10 copies. Here's the back. It is Nihongo. There you go. So and if you guys have seen the preview books for Fiendish, those are also rare books. I just repurposed that cover because I didn't have time to draw anything new.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I can't reuse the chapter 1 or 2 covers because that would be confusing. But the final trades won't look like this. The final trade it'll be much bigger. I'm planning on making that chapter 1 through 4. So this is just a special edition thing. And I have 10 copies. I'm wondering if I should auction one for the Red Valkyrie thing on Saturday. I don't know. Chat, let me know. Would you be interested? Because I know our audience, there's a lot of people that are fans of manga, but there's also the audience is split on whether they like this stuff or not, like manga. So let me know, guys. But yeah, this got in. So I'm super happy. And yeah, that's it.
You printed that version just so you would have some to give to the Vinland Saga creator?
Japanese man.
Yes!
So that's like a super limited, only 10 Vinland
It's only
Saga
10 copies.
edition?
Yes, only 10 copies have been printed, and only 10 will ever exist, because this isn't even like this. The book will never be printed in this format again. Like there will be a Japanese edition, but this is only chapter 1 and 2 with like some of the. Let me flip through a little bit. So you see, open. Here are all the credits. Look,
And it's in
Japanese credits
color.
and stuff. Yeah, it is in color, because it's a gift. So I want it to be properly. I really hope they let me give this to him. If not, then I'll just be sad. But I'll be going to Japan sometime next year, so I'll find someone to give it to. But it is in color. Yeah, here's some chapter 2 pages, and then at the end I have some of the the campaign covers and stuff, just so the art will be in there. And of course the glossary. I got everything translated, even the dev and Ispoliad pages, all these info pages and stuff. I'm very proud of this because I had a translator, but I also did a lot of the reformatting. Not a lot. I did the reformatting and the lettering all myself. But yeah, only 10 copies because I am a super fan and a shameless weeaboo. So this exists now, and this is how much I want to be able to give my work to this creator. Hopefully it works out.
That's an insane collector's item. If you're actually going to auction one off.
Yeah, you should.
Do it.
Jake's just wants one.
Well, I might be bringing one to the Red Valkyrie auction, so y'all better be
That's a
there.
good idea, especially if you have 10. Yeah, it's a cool idea. It looks dope. I'm excited.
Good job.
Cool. So on with the presentation. Oh wait, Phil.
Yeah.
How was your
So,
week, Phil?
That'd be
I
fucking
think
good.
Nothing really
That's it.
big happened.
Move
Yeah.
on.
Did you win a fighting tournament?
No, those days are in the past. Pair
Hung up
make
his
me
mitts.
tear up about it. No, I saw a movie, which I think you should go see. Pair.
Megalopolis?
No, definitely don't go see that. It looks horrible.
Joker 2?
No, Megalopolis was so great. What?
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah.
How many hours long was it?
It's 2 hours 20 minutes.
See, I saw The Substance.
Oh, I heard that's good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Cool.
Demi
I really want
Moore.
to see that.
So much nudity in it, and the good kind of nudity. Just putting that out
Listening. Interested.
Like not Dude Bush or whatever.
there. Right. Yeah. I mean, there's like one man ass, I think, in it. You just blacked that out.
Okay, interested.
So yeah, that was fun. It's like this weird horror movie that goes off the rails. It's crazy. I've been doing a lot of lettering. I've been lettering up some stories for my Western for next year. I got some awesome updates for the variant cover for Psycho Slumber that we're gonna put out soon. It's getting worked on. An awesome artist, so I'm super stoked about that. We just we put up this little piece of art. If you want to share my screen, this was in the preview book, but we finally got it colored. So all of like the colors are caught up to all of the pages of the preview book. So if you guys got that twink foil Psycho Slumber preview, all those pages are colored now, and we're going forward, moving with it. So I thought I'd put this up for spooky season. Crazy Simon slashing through a victim.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, Eugene
Yeah.
killed it on the colors, like that. Super
color.
atmospheric. I love that. So we put that up, and then I don't know if you guys saw, Chris, you guys could back this on Indiegogo right now. If you guys have not yet, but Christmas came early, Jake. Book 2 of Trigun.
Is it on discount sale yet, Phil? Wait, it's like Amazon week, right? I resisted buying a fucking massive curved screen on Amazon week because it was like 150 off.
I still
Wow.
had an Amazon gift card money, so I was able to take this off the truck. So I just read the first story in it. I'm really excited. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this. And yeah, I guess that was my week. So I'm going to be reading more Trigun. I'm writing and kind of like in a writing rut right now with one of my stories, but I think it'll be fine. I'm probably just overthinking it a little bit. After the stream, I'll talk to you guys about that
If you're ever in a writing
It's so
rut,
helpful.
just put them on the moon fighting each other.
Just take them to the moon.
Yeah, fighting on the moon.
Oh my god.
It's not a complete story.
Yeah.
You know that Dramatica, how you have to have like an idea explored from every angle.
Right.
If you don't cover the fighting on the moon angle, it's not a complete story.
That's what I saw a Dragon Ball Z meme, and it's like, let's fight somewhere empty so no one gets hurt, and it cuts to the Joker 2 theater.
On the moon.
Yeah, maybe we'll go to the moon. Henry Bemis had a question. Has Phil thought about doing lost pages in Spanish? Yeah, that's all my brother wants to do now is translate our books into Spanish. So maybe we'll.
So he's learning. He's in Mexico now, just like taking it all in.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully for next year we'll have some Española books. I think that'd be cool. Alex says Trigun Maximum is confusingly the second Trigun Deluxe book. Yes. So there was a first series that was just serialized in the magazines in the early 90s. It was just Trigun. And then he stopped publishing it, or maybe it got canceled. And then it was picked up, or I think then he got another publishing deal, and they're like, you could do whatever you want. And he's like, oh, I want to go back to Trigun. So he did Trigun Maximum, and then he got the anime deal with it. But it's all one continuous story, and it's freaking cool. So that's been a cool little inspiration well for me for the last week. Yeah, and now we're here.
Nice. You know what? Sometimes if you're having writer's block, well, this is also kind of a joke, but an explosion. Speaking of the moon, but like I've done that once. Like I didn't know what to do, so I exploded everything.
You should, if you're really stuck, explode the moon.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Okay.
Hey, that happens in Trigun. That's literally where the first Trigun book ends. Is Vash shoots the moon with this giant gun, and then it picks off with like it's 2 years later, and no one's seen Vash, and they just know that he put this giant crater on the moon, and you could see it from the planet. It's pretty dope.
They blow up the moon in the TF2 comics. They blow up the moon in Sonic. They blow up the moon in Trigun. Like, do they?
The moon gets a bad rap.
Do they know something we don't?
And each time they never represented it as hollow, which I just find completely inaccurate.
Very disappointing. Yeah, very inaccurate.
Lepke's back on Gaston real quick. He goes, I drive the wife nuts because I don't think Gaston is all that bad. A-hole, sure, but not a villain until the very end. Yeah.
What?
True.
Wait a minute. Is he a villain? He's killing like a werewolf.
What?
Yeah, he thinks he's a hero. What if, here's a question. So what if, say he did like kill the beast, and then would he then be like still entitled and weird with Belle? It feels like he kind of would. He'd be like, yeah, I saved you. You know, the implication, right? I've saved you from that beast. Now you got to marry me. Then that would still be pretty bad. But if he was like, so will you finally go on a date with me? Because I saved you from that animal, you know? And she's like, no, get away. He's like, shucks. And he like walks away.
No, you know he'd be a total a-hole about it. He'd hold it over her head. You're indebted to me. I saved you from the wolf.
Yeah, he's like.
At least he's asking her to marry him instead of just asking for nudes.
Oh.
Step up from a lot of people.
What is he's kind of like? Who's the guy who helps? The Frodo. What Samwise Gamgee?
He's kind of like
Gaston is Samwise.
He's a lot
What?
like Samwise.
Oh, yeah, exactly like Samwise. Yes.
Samwise
Perfect
Gamgee.
comparison.
Samwise
goes
jumping around.
Wow.
He
Gaston Gamgee, guys.
He's
yeah,
jumping around
Samwise.
this
He goes on a quest to slay a beast, but it's like metaphorical. But then once he slays it, then he goes back to his town and he hangs it over a woman's head. And he says, now that I slayed that beast for you, you owe me. And
oh, yeah.
He says yes.
That's
So
what.
That's not what Samwise did.
That's what he did to Frodo. He's like, I took you to this mountain. Your ass is mine,
and he married
Frodo.
Frodo. That's how the story ends.
No, it's
They
not
married
marriage. It's much more disgusting.
Samwise
Oh,
wanted
boy.
it. If Samwise got what he wanted, they would have killed Schmeagol, and then they would have never had the ring get destroyed. So he's worse than
Frodo.
Gaston.
Yeah, Samwise is a d-bag.
Samwise worst character.
Yeah. Total shit character. You're right. You totally.
He could have ruined everything if he'd got his way.
Here's the moon, Jake.
Yep.
That doesn't look like it's exploded or cracked in half or nothing.
It's not to explode. There's see that giant crater? They call it the eyeball. Like it turns red, I guess.
There's a lot of craters on the moon, Phil. It's nothing new.
No, but this one's giant size. It's formed from a big blast that he blasted it with uncontrollably.
Are there any exposed girders?
No, there's no girders. He preemptively exploded into the moon.
Is there
Do you guys know-
rebar sticking out of the hole?
I'm still on this Gaston kick real fast. Have you guys seen the Disney version of Sleepy Hollow? You know?
Oh,
I think so. Forever
yeah,
ago.
the OG animated one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then that it has
Classic.
two characters. What's the school teacher, the main guy? What's his name? Do you know?
Ichabod Crane.
Yeah, so Ichabod Crane. Then there's another guy who's jealous of Ichabod Crane, and it's kind of implied that he might be the Headless Horseman. Do you know what I'm
Right.
talking about?
He's the guy that looks like Gaston.
Yeah, he's very Gaston-esque.
Yeah.
So like I think it's canon that he is Gaston. And
That'd be awesome.
yeah, and in that but that one's a little funnier because he's a little more incel-ish in that one. I think because he's actually jealous because Ichabod is like dancing with the ladies and stuff.
Yeah, all the women love him because he
Yeah,
being like that guy.
but then he kind
Bing
of got what he
Crosby.
wanted because he killed Ichabod Crane. Then the ladies liked him. He got game, but then Belle still wouldn't give him the time of day, so he was kind of bummed about that.
Wait, so is that Gaston's future or past? Like, when did he go between the US and France?
Mm,
We need
that's
to put
right.
together this lore.
It's his prequel. This is his
Yeah,
origin
that's his
story.
origin story. Yeah.
His
He
first
got over
kill.
there.
Gaston, first kill.
He got over there on the ship that Elsa's parents died on. That's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah, makes sense.
if we could get one other thing to connect it. He came over on the Titanic, but swam once it crashed.
He swam to France.
I don't think the Sleepy Hollow story took place in that same time period.
Oh yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it before or after? Because if it's before, you just need to throw a little vampirism into the lore.
No, the Ichabod era is more colonial, so that's before.
Yeah,
Didn't
so you
like
could
19th
say it's like like
century.
early 1700s or whatever.
18th, 17th century even.
So he
Yeah.
could have just become a vampire and then walked all the way to the France under the ocean floor because there's no sun getting down there.
But there's no proof that Beauty and the Beast doesn't take place in 1730. Like they might say it's medieval, but you're like, what's the difference? Like they got
Beauty and
they
the
got
Beast-
Yeah,
muskets.
prove it, right? Prove it.
It could be more flexible. It could be 1700s. So the Sleepy Hollow and Beauty and the Beast could be contemporary, but not the Titanic.
Yeah, oh yeah, not the Titanic, yeah. So whatever the connection is, if there'd be some other connection of why he traveled or whatever. Maybe it's the French-Indian War he fought in. Is that like
Quick,
some-
find a character in Pocahontas that looks like
Is that
Gaston.
American?
Yeah,
Yeah,
is there a
yeah.
Gaston-esque character in Pocahontas? Yeah. What is the Gaston archetype? So it's like the not incel but jealous bro. You know, I don't know.
The
And is
meathead.
I mean,
definitely
technically, if he's pushing off the floozies, he's a volcel. He's a voluntary celibate.
he-
Right.
Yeah, because he has unrequited love, which is actually kind of, in its own way, that can be charming.
Well, yeah, Woodrow's got a point. Maybe he goes to Britain and becomes Jack the Ripper because he's been rejected by Belle, and he rejects the floozies, so he goes and murders all these prostitutes.
Yeah.
Makes
And does
sense.
he-
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think they have him die in Beauty and the Beast, and that's a little too much. He wasn't that bad, for sure.
Who died in Beauty and the Beast? Jack the Ripper?
He
Gaston.
died?
Yeah, he like
No,
falls.
he
He falls
died?
on a
No.
sharp.
I don't remember
I thought
that.
they made him into guys. Didn't Disney do that?
Made him into what?
He was one of those gay guys.
Oh, you're saying Gaston turned into Jack the Gripper.
Right.
Oh, at the end, that's his character arc. He just
Or like-
realizes he's
no,
gay.
didn't they do a live action Beauty and the Beast movie and they made Gaston gay for one of his buddies or something?
Gay stunt. No, I think
Oh,
his
for
little
modern
his,
audiences.
I think his little friend was gay for him.
Oh,
His buddy, his buddy.
whoa! All right.
Moromi says he was straight up committing murder. Oh yeah, but he was just murdering the Beast. Like, who gives a shit? The Beast was like,
He's a beast. Yeah.
He's saving the
Yeah.
town from a freaking werewolf.
yeah.
A rose-powered, sparkly werewolf.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
Michael Bancroft. Michael, you guys are right. I think there's a beat like the Beast is like, you're not worth it. And he walks away, and the Gaston's like, ha, gotcha. Oh, and then like the ceiling breaks or whatever, and he falls and dies.
I think
Fate dealt
in
with them.
reality, any underhanded tactic is probably not villainous if you're fighting a giant werewolf beast creature. No?
DJ says American Revolution dates the Headless Horseman, but you could maybe push it earlier, or that's what he says. It tropes old. Yep.
Nah, Beauty and the Beast is overdone.
Yeah.
On this show, yes.
Yeah. I've seen it once. What do you mean?
But Gaston.
Yeah,
lore,
we talk about it so much.
I would be curious to hear what the argument is for why, if anyone's saying that he's actually the good guy, or if it's just a joke or a meme or whatever. I want to know what they say.
Okay, well, I'll type Gaston good guy tweet instead of you scrolling through a timeline.
I have no solid opinion. I barely remember Beauty and the Beast, but it sounds like it's probably just a meme of people taking, because he's a little Chadley, but also an asshole and a little murdery, right? But it's probably a meme because people latch on to Chadley characters because there's so few of them. They're like, well, he's Chadley, so he's a good guy, but it's clearly a joke.
I have never heard the word Chadley in my
Chadley.
life. I want to see a cartoon or a fucking like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Never heard it?
Chadley.
Comment about like little Chadley. I want to see the adventures of little
Chadley. You
Little
haven't heard Chadley? Chadful? This
No
is
one's ever said
Chadful.
these words.
Chadley-esque.
These are new words.
The
you just
character
made up.
was written Chadfully. Well, I am nothing if not a master of the English language. You're welcome.
Little Chadley. What does he go around doing? Beating people up or being like a Johnny Bravo
Hey,
type?
wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Chadley
It
Chadley
ruins it
Chadley.
by naming a child it, because it's funniest when it's a descriptor.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah,
Rainey was
that-
using it.
Chad.
Yeah, it was as not as a name.
Yeah, well,
Chadley, it sounds like a noble descriptor.
Chadley sounds like he should look like a cool version of like Richie Rich or Casper.
Oh yeah.
He's Richie Rich's cousin.
Yeah.
Who's
Yes.
is mostly chin. He's like 90% chin.
So all this sort of applies to the little mini presentation I have, but
Yeah, what's
we
the
can all
topic?
put a little hat on, and the hat is Heartless Executive for comics or movies, whatever, like Hollywood style. But like say like we have our own satanic cult, but it's not as bad as the real one. But we took them over, and it was like it was good versus evil, but we're not very good either. We're Heartless Executives, and now we rule Hollywood. And we want to like give the people what they don't even know they want, and we're going to shove it down their throats, and they're going to learn to love it.
So
But,
what's our actual goal? Is it to make money or is it to just impose our will?
It's to make money, I think, probably, which
Okay.
is a little bit step above Hollywood right now. Yeah,
I thought it was to harvest adrenochrome.
that's old Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're new Hollywood.
We just dabble in the adrenochrome, but we don't fully embrace it.
All right, cool.
We're doing the Monsters
I don't
Inc.
believe you.
laughing version of adrenochrome,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
where you rip
Yeah,
the face
so-
off while they're laughing.
So
yeah.
So with that all in mind, these are thumbnails I pulled from this one YouTube channel I came across. It'd actually be good if I could remember what it was called, but if I remember it, I'll tell you guys, because it's a cool channel. I ended up binging all his videos while I was working. This is like a few weeks ago. I kind of had some of this ready a few weeks ago, and then I think we postponed, and then I went to Portland. So, but it's funny because the series is about movies that then got knocked off. You know, they like created a trend basically, and he did a lot of them here, and I'm like, he's almost doing like all the movies that really popped off and created a trend. Like you could think of maybe some others. So that's what we can go over. Like one smash hit, for example, was like Back to the Future, but I don't think Back to the Future spawned a million, knockoffs.
Well, it popularized the time travel trope as a story plot line, right? And it decided what everyone's version of time travel was
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. So he might make a video of that one still, or hasn't yet. Another one I was thinking is like The Matrix, you know? Like if you pick like a really good movie that feels like seminal or whatever. But The Matrix, I don't think it made that much money in the box office. A lot of these all made money. So this is a little bit of the check the box thing. I think when they make a ton of money, that's when they start getting imitated. Whereas like Fight Club or The Matrix, yeah, they have this huge cultural impact, but they didn't make that money right away, so people didn't know how to imitate it. And some of them, like Fight Club, it's like, what would that even look like? A Fight Club knockoff? It's kind of hard to imagine because you don't even know what it is. That's a little bit like Pulp Fiction was like that, and it did have knockoffs, but none of them were the same, and nobody knew what to copy. And they ended up copying some of the dialogue and just crime and guns in the streets kind of thing was like Pulp Fiction, but none of it was actually.
Well,
And that's I mean, like any of the Indiana Jones knockoffs, none of them are as good as Indiana Jones. Some are okay, but it's funny. There's like hundreds of them, and there's many different budgets, and there's kind of a timeline that he goes through too. Because at the end of the timeline, at the beginning, like right after, it's like usually loose, where they might even be a project that they're repurposing at the last second to make it just a little Indiana Jonesy because they want to capture that, and which is kind of heartless in its own way. It's kind of funny. So then it ends up being half and half. So right at the beginning, you get half and half movies because they don't even know what they're doing. So it's just kind of an amalgamation. Then you'll get kind of true copies that usually aren't quite as good, but they can still be good. And then one of the last things you get after it's been fully digested by the system, then you get parody. So all of these, this is like a little bit of one of the things that's the most interesting is like all of these could easily be parodied because it's so inherent, the tropes that come with them, because that's kind of what he says with what the parody happens when the self-awareness happens. So if you don't have self-awareness, then you can't do the parody. So that's one question I have for you guys as Heartless executives is like, what are the new trends? What are the new things that can be parodied? What are the new things that can be copied to make money or whatever?
Oh,
nothing.
yeah. Well, things have to reach critical mass in order, because everyone has to know about it for a parody for people to get the joke.
It has to be part of the culture.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just end up with like one of those the movies where it's like scattershot references to everything, and it's like you'll get half of them.
Yeah.
Like Scary Movie.
Yeah. And like, I mean, they did like superhero movie because I feel like superhero movies are like we're critical mass with that, and we're self-aware, and then that's when Deadpool comes out. I wonder if you could parody the parody, but that's kind of stupid.
Sure. Well, that's funny you bring up superhero movie that came out 25 years ago before like Avengers came out, right? Because that was parodying the X-Men films and Spider-Man. So we weren't even into the Marvel MCU when that film was parodying superhero movies.
The Deadpool movies is kind of the only way that you make fun of those without because come on, even watching a parody of those superhero movies would be like too much. It's like, could you fuck off already with this entire theme? It's just done to death. Like the horse isn't just dead and it's like been beaten senseless, and now it's just a pulp on the floor.
Yeah. But there's a little bit of like a defensive parody I want to say too, because I feel like it sort of gets a bad rap, and I don't actually disagree, but Ellie Final Metamorphosis is like, I hated those movies. Yeah, and like I don't know, some of them might have totally sucked. I don't know, but there one example is in comics. It's Cerebus, which is kind of this. I'm reading that still and loving it, and that's this legendary independent comic about the Aardvark that started as a Conan parody, and it was still great when it was a Conan parody. It was almost like it was still kind of serious, like he's getting in serious adventures, but he's a cartoon aardvark instead of Conan. But then they would have like ridiculous shit happen here and there too, and it was awesome. And then there's a couple, but like Young Frankenstein is like a movie that's kind of legendary,
Yeah,
and
amazing.
it's just a parody, but that movie is like so good.
Yeah,
So parody can be like good, but that's like it's like kind of hard to make
No,
good
but
parody.
parody can be really good. It's just a lot of people can use it as a crutch because they just end up making reference humor instead of it actually funny, right? Like there's tons of really good parody stuff. Like the original ones of those movies was like Scream, and they were a parody.
Oh
Um
yeah,
like Scream is a parody of Scary Movie or the other way around.
scary
Like
movie. Yeah,
my favorite film ever, um, not another teen movie, is a genre parody
yeah,
of
yeah,
all of those kind of like teen romancy things.
great
Like
film.
so for you to do a direct parody like Spaceballs, it has to be something that everyone knows about, right? And I genuinely don't think, because of how quickly people move on, nothing really sticks around long enough for it to reach critical mass and stay relevant for long enough to someone to make a parody. So it's like the only parodies you can do that could be good, and it actually makes a better basis for a parody, is if you do a genre parody, which in a way Shaun of the Dead was. It's kind of, but it's not like hook like stupid parody. It's kind of like a pastiche comedy of zombie movies. Like Connell is supposed to be a parody of like porn tropes and fantasy at the same time. Um, a genre parody in general is probably the safest bet for making a parody comedy now, which Deadpool kind of is with the Marvel movie stuff.
yeah. Like you're saying, like where it's the genre mashup of it, just adding comedy
Yeah,
is
you
the
can,
only
you
thing
can.
you're doing.
Well, no, it's I say it's the safest bet. You know what I mean? Like, if someone were to make a direct Game of Thrones parody while that was popular, like the show probably would have ended and become really unpopular by the time they got it finished, and it probably
Yeah,
wouldn't have hit. You know what I mean? Like, what
but
has reached critical mass recently that you could direct parody one to one?
yeah, we're a little bit. I think we. I mean, yeah. I feel like we're still in the Game of Thrones era where I don't know if that because like they're doing like Rings of Power or whatever,
Right.
and it's kind of like yeah, it feels like it's
Rings of
bad.
Rings of Power is a parody of Lord of the Rings. How about
Yeah,
that?
like someone should parody Rings of Power just to take the piss out of the room or whatever. Because then,
A parody of a parody.
yeah, well, it's not really a parody, but a parody of a parody. I don't even know what that'd be like a parody of Deadpool, which would
Wait,
be too much, maybe.
you got to make a movie. Okay, here it is. It's a movie called Shitty Movie, and it's a parody of all the terrible ways they made modern audience changes to IPs. And maybe you could do a producer style thing where it's like they're making a movie that's the shitty movie.
Yeah,
And they're like, let's make the shittiest movie, and it's all of those tropes. So you're kind of making a parody of all of the modern remakes, um, as a genre. Like if you consider modern remakes to be a genre, you could parody
Or
maybe and call it shitty.
yeah, or it could be a movie about someone shooting, like someone within the movie very sincerely making one of those remakes, and the remake is called like Good Persons the movie or something, and it's all the modern audience tropes. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you could make like maybe a producer style. No. It has to be the character's earnest. A character
yeah.
earnestly trying to remake a true classic that everyone would get, right? Maybe it's someone trying to remake Fight Club, right, for modern audiences.
oh yeah.
And it's
Though
the story of them.
they were saying
Oh,
they're
really?
trying to remake
Becoming
Fight Club, but have it be all women. Someone was saying that, and I was like, is this a joke? And that
Okay,
would be hilarious to have women just beating the
you
shit out of
please,
each other.
yeah,
please do. Yeah, that'll totally work.
you could
Women and men
make
are exactly the same.
you could make like it's called Cat Fight Club or something. Like you could make a movie about someone trying to make a female version of Fight Club and the story of them doing it. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
maybe it's like people, they find someone who's really earnest about their vision, but their vision is terrible. It's like a Tommy Wiseau character, right? And it's the producers trying to get this Tommy Wiseau character. Oh, that's what they do in the producers. They get that playwright guy, the Nazi
Right.
playwright guy played by.
Didn't they do that movie about that Tommy Wiseau movie?
Yeah, that was really good.
But oh yeah, and I guess freaking Dungeons and Dragons apparently had a good movie like last year even maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently it was a comedy
Mm.
too. And I wonder
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
was like.
I heard it was good.
I
Yeah.
watched it. Has anyone else watched it?
No,
I
did it have like
started
self-awareness?
watching
Did it
it.
have winking at the camera or anything, or playing with tropes or?
So it was good. It did play with tropes. The characters were nice, but it was still like, you know how you're making self-driving cars and you can never really make it fully self-driving because like the last little bit of the percent is still super hard to do. It's like it was just a little bit too clean. You know what I mean? Like it just had that movie feeling where it was just a little bit too modern feeling. It could have been really good if it was more gritty, basically. Like if it was what's that movie where Snape plays that king that wants to get with the princess woman? Remember
Harry
that?
Potter 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Snape's trying to Roger a princess. It's like who's the guy who played Snape?
From Conan?
Yeah.
Snape was in Conan.
What is it? He's dead now. What's his name? Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman's dead?
Yeah, he died
Yeah,
like 3 years
he bit
ago.
to dust.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's not very good. There's no more Harry Potters.
Alan Rickman?
And Alan Rickman is the main bad guy in Die Hard.
Yeah.
That's one of the ingredients. Die Hard. It's funny. We're back to this real quick. These are not the movies I would guess would be the most imitated movies. You know, like Jaws, you kind of get it because it was just a big hit. But even that, I wouldn't put it on the list. Star Wars, definitely. But Star Wars is on here. Almost none of the others I would guess. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, I would never have guessed that would be a massively imitated movie. But it's kind of like a lot of these if they didn't, yeah, it's like they created these tropes that would then years later become so ingrained that they get parodied.
It was
Yeah.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
But Jake, you
Okay.
kind of hit on a reason that it's difficult to do is because people's attention spans are so short now. Like when I was a kid, I remember going and seeing like Spider-Man 2 or the first Spider-Man film and being like, oh man, I gotta wait till like next summer till I can get it on
Yeah.
DVD, you know? Where now films are in a theater for 4 weeks, you know?
And then it's out on streaming, and you're already on the next one. They're already announcing it. Well, okay, I want to have this discussion because I've had it with Irene before, and I think we're both on two different sides of it. I don't think the world is slow enough now for anything to become a classic or considered a masterpiece. I kind of don't think something can come out now and rise to the top and stay at the front of people's minds long enough for it to get like processed and join the canon of like masterpiece classics simply because of how fast the world is moving.
I don't
Yeah.
agree. I think I think the internet and the speed of information changes our perception of attention, information retention. And sure, people's attention span is going down, but I think there is a natural limit to that. And maybe it'll take longer, but the best works will still stay in the public consciousness. And I've heard it asked before, where are this generation's classics? Where are the great works? Well, first of all, especially in American comics, everything is a clusterfuck. So you don't have the talented people coming into this medium to make masterpieces. You do have that in other mediums and especially in manga. So the masterpieces in comics are still being made in other parts, not the American comic sector of comics. And maybe it takes longer to reach that masterpiece level because there is so much information and people have shorter attention spans, but it's still possible. Like there are still, that the generations of manga, like the first generations were the Dragon Balls, and then the second generation was Bleach and Naruto, and then the current generation, like the big shonen heavy hitter, it's My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, and One Piece is just on its own level through all the ages. That's still ongoing. So I think masterpieces are clearly still possible.
Yeah. Interesting, Metal Boys Brewskis, Art the Clown is hitting the zeitgeist. So this is funny because that's true, but I don't know if like the numbers, it's like to what Jake is saying, like maybe if Art the Clown, like say it makes like 50 million, that would be insane, and it would like 100x its money or more. And that would be amazing. But maybe if it made a
Frightener
billion.
is the Frightener horror film series. The third one comes out this weekend. It's that clown guy.
Yeah, no, it's not called the Frightener. What's it called?
Terrifier. Sorry,
Terrifier. Yeah.
Frightener.
Yeah, and Terrifier is a lot of fun. It's interesting. It's so simple. It's back to basics with the horror, but it's really fun.
But Dean in the chat hits on it. John Wick would be an example, and I would agree with him because there's a bunch of knockoffs, even comics that have knocked off John Wick. There's one.
That would be like you could put that next to these movies.
Yeah,
of something
that would be
creates
a modern day that hits the culture that everybody knows about. They know the premise.
Yeah, it entered the canon. It could be parodied. John Wick could definitely be parodied. That's funny. It would be pretty hilarious to have like a guy, doing all the world building stuff. I think a lot of stuff that could be parodied. Some of it is like the world building esque stuff which is great, and it's the best thing about John Wick. And it's been so in style for like 10 years. People are really leaning into it. And then the other thing people are leaning into a lot, it's kind of the tone, and it goes with the world building. But I think of it as it's a little bit the Game of Thrones thing. It's like video games do it even more, but the Elden Ring, the Souls likes, and it's this tone. It's like so serious and so like dark and brooding and serious.
Yeah.
And that is like the problem with that is the only thing that you do to make fun of it is you just change the tone, and that's kind of retarded. But sometimes I get tired of the super serious stuff or whatever. But
I guess another example probably from, I guess, around my generation would be like the Harry Potter franchise. Even as like a book series, but also you could argue that Harry Potter is a duplicate of other things,
Harry Potter is huge. It's defined several generations at this point. And I think 50, 100 years from now, it'll be seen as that it'll still be known as literature of this era.
Yeah. That was like the last thing that hit before shit really broke up and got populist for a while.
Well, if George will finish his books, then we would still have modern, like an ongoing hit.
Yeah. So there's that. That's kind of the other, but there isn't much other than those. Harry Potter is old now. That's another funny thing. Like, I guess we grew up with it, but it's now like the generation did not grow up with it. It's like Gen Y or whatever.
Alex mentioned in chat that all my examples were manga, and that's not the case. And we don't have those masterpieces, especially in American comics. Yeah, I think the issue there isn't that masterpieces aren't possible. It's just that the talent isn't coming to the industry because the industry isn't facilitating that kind of creativity at the moment.
Did anyone do like a serious, like a high effort parody of like Harry Potter, like a direct one? Has that ever existed?
Harry Potter. No, I've only seen it parodied on like sketch shows like Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, and actually, you know what's like almost like that in a way is Mark Miller's Magic Order. It's like Harry Potter, but it's rated R, like intrigue, spy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's different, but it's like Harry Potter genre almost. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And who said in the chat? Someone was saying that there's a bunch of books that were trying to like a bunch of Ellie says Harry Potter spun off lots of Potter like books. Some of them were pretty good.
Romy
Yeah,
says
or
Teenage
Percy
Mutant Ninja
Jackson.
Turtles was a parody of Daredevil.
Yeah.
See, that's crazy that it was started as a parody.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Wasn't TMNT a parody of like a bunch of different stuff at the time?
Yeah, maybe Dark Knight too a little bit. I don't know.
Well, there's the reason that it's so synonymous with Daredevil is because there's the ooze that turns the turtles into the turtles is supposed to be the ooze that splashes on Matt Murdock's eyes to make him blind. And then instead of the Foot Clan, there's the Hand and Daredevil. And instead of Stick, who trains Daredevil, it's Splinter,
Okay.
the Rat. So it's very heavily parodied from that. But look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then how many spin-offs from that? Like that's the comic that super quickly like spawned off so many Intimidators. You got Spike and Mike from Mars, the Battletoads, friggin' the rodents, the Teenage Mutant Rodents or whatever.
Yeah, that's funny. That is kind of good stuff. So that would be a lot of these. That's a little interesting. Is they sort of created their own genre, and their genre is just imitators, like Die Hard. Like actually, Die Hard, even people just pitch it if it becomes like part of the pitch. Like if we're talking Magic Order, you'd be like, it's Harry Potter but rated R and blah blah blah. But with Die Hard, people go, it's Die Hard but it's on a boat, or they go, it's Die Hard but it's like on an oil rig. It's Die Hard but it's like in a hotel.
Yeah.
Like that's like, I don't know. That's Die Hard. But Die Hard is a funny one too because I watch those videos and you forget kind of how good it is. Like, and there's so many things about it that make it great. But one of the things they said is Die Hard was one of the first ones to make the hero, he was not like the Arnold archetype. So it changed archetypes for the first time. So instead of it being the Arnold archetype or the Stallone, the muscled dude who's a badass who can do anything, it was like a kind of regular Joe guy, barefoot with his walking on glass without shoes, his feet getting torn up, and that kind of shit. So, and that changed everything from then on. Everything was like the Arnold thing was kind of getting left behind from that point. And then Arnold, a few years later, did his own postmodern parody of his own stuff, and it was called Last Action Hero,
right?
Yeah,
yeah, that was good. Yeah, there's a lot of someone said that Deadpool's a parody of Deathstroke, which Rob Liefeld refuses to admit, but also he only drew like a handful of comics with Deadpool in them before he left Marvel. But yeah, like Deathstroke's name is Slade Wilson, right? And Deadpool's name is Wade Wilson.
Clear. Oh, come on.
Yeah. But a lot of that was developed by like the writers that took over the character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Fabian.
But don't say that in front of Rob Liefeld.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of these that's popping out to me too is Nightmare on Elm Street. That's, one of the ones I'm like, what's that? But you're like, what even are the imitations? But I think it's like the supernatural mixed with the slasher. I think it was kind of the first. Although I guess you could say frickin' John Carpenter's Halloween. You could say that's supernatural. But Nightmare on Elm Street is like supernatural.
Well, I think too when they say that, like a lot of movies after that focused around like dreamscape stuff. Even though, in fact, there's a movie called Dreamscape that's really good where people go into each other's dreams and start killing each other. And then also like as the series progressed, the campiness of Freddy, and that became a more prevalent thing in that genre, I think.
But yeah, Michael Teacher says, at what point are you parodying and not just borrowing tropes? I mean, that would be the difference between a direct parody and like a genre parody.
Yeah, and it's self-awareness, I think, is basically the point. The point where it becomes parody is if you're self-aware.
Well, does it have to be comedy is exclusively parody is exclusively comedy, right?
Yeah,
Would
that's
you
an
say?
interesting question.
I
Yeah.
think so, because it has to be like satire,
Yeah, it has to be making a
poking
point
fun. Yeah.
about the original. Yeah, poke fun at the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it be would it be okay if you took something and did like, say you had a criticism of a classic work and like remade a parody version that was not using humor to poke fun at it, but like trying to criticize it in a different way by like changing an ending or something, could you still consider it parody? Or is it?
It's more of a commentary.
Yeah, there you go. The Camel says there's plenty of unfunny parodies. Ever seen Meet the Spartans? Yeah, is that really a comedy?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
I guess you
Yeah,
can
and
have parodies that aren't actually comedies because they're not funny.
Henry Rivas says, "Is Watchmen a parody?" No, I would say it's a commentary and subversion. Subversive
Yeah,
commentary.
that's interesting. Yeah, because it almost is, but it's not funny. So I don't know if there's such thing as a serious parody.
I think a parody implies humor, while a subversion implies a serious reframing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would also be self-aware. Subversions are also self-aware. They'd be late stage. So for these imitations, like you're not going to get a subversion. Like if Indiana Jones comes out in like 81, you're not going to get a subversion in 82. The subversions come like around the same time parodies come, which would be like kind of years later after it's been run into the ground. And I don't know what the Indiana Jones parodies are, but you can picture it kind of in your head.
What was that one? I'd imagine it came after Indiana Jones. So Michael Douglas is in it. He's like a explorer guy.
Romancing the Stone.
Yeah. Is that not?
I don't know if that's parody or not either. Yeah, but that was on the list of like the imitators or
Well, yeah,
riding,
yeah. It
riding the
seems like
bandwagon.
yeah, the bandwagon.
That was a big hit too. That one.
Mm-hmm.
Dele says Shrek is a parody. In a sense, Shrek is a comedy movie that parodies various things.
Yeah.
Like, is it but whilst not being a direct parody of one specific thing.
It kind of parodies fairy tales in general, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so like a genre parody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like a little bit like the zombie one you were talking about, Shaun of the Dead. Like it's good, tells its own story, but still hitting.
The Mummy, National Treasure.
Yeah, those are on the list for Indiana Jones. The other thing for his videos, a lot of these, they continue to be ripped off all the way into the 90s and 2000s. Like it doesn't end. Like once it gets made, like Indiana Jones, it's surprising kind of how original it was at the time. Because when you think about it now, you're just like, it's just a cool action movie. What's so special about it? But it was doing all the stuff for the first time. Alien is like that too.
Now, is it possible, or down the line, decades later, to do a knockoff like one of these and then it to be considered original because it's so far removed? Or are these just so cemented in culture that their ideas are just going to live forever?
Yeah. You could definitely make a movie that's so good it becomes like a classic, but I don't know if your movie would then be listed as like it getting ripped off or whatever.
I think you'd have to wait. So the reason a lot of the remakes don't work, on top of just being badly done, and them and not really remaking but changing the source material for, you know, whatever social reasons, there really is no use for a remake, and a remake isn't appealing unless the technology has significantly advanced. So if you're just going to make a remake of Star Wars, why would, which was essentially what the new trilogy was, no, it's not compelling because the technology hasn't advanced and the story is also fresh in everyone's minds. If 2 generations down the line and we don't even have movies anymore, we have fully immersive experiences where you just plug your brain and all your smell and sensory and touch is like in the movie, like it's a whole different thing, and you remake the Aliens and the Terminators and Star Wars, I think that would become a new wave of classics, or it could be.
Yeah.
But you know where some movies that are classics, how they're just repurposed Shakespeare stories with like a different coat on them, you know?
Yeah.
And
Tons of Hamlets.
right. So like, and I mean, obviously people are aware of that, but there's a group of people that aren't, and they're like, oh, I like this movie because it's a good movie. Like, is there going to be a point in time where people 100 years from now are just recoding Indiana Jones, you know?
Yeah, I think part of the we've all heard the saying there's nothing original, whatever, there's no real original art. Everything is a reframing of what has existed or a new combination. And I think that's true. There's probably a set of stories that people find compelling since the dawn of time, and all classics are just combining those sets of stories that people find compelling. And the hero's journey is one primary example. It is a very large one, but that's not the only story that people find compelling. And building on top of what's already been established and also combining it with the current times. So whatever the current psyche of society needs on top of these story templates that have been proven since time immemorial. I think that there are always these templates that will be carried through, because I've heard so that like it's like Lion King is just Hamlet, and apparently Hamlet is derived from an even older tales that were from the Norse sagas, which I actually don't know about, but that's what I heard. And but I would believe, because as Moromi says, even Hamlet wasn't original. Yeah, these
That's what
stories,
Matt says
they
too.
go back to oral tradition. So
Well,
I think that's how it is.
you know what else too? Like we're talking about Indiana Jones earlier. Indiana Jones was a repurposing of the 1930s serials that George Lucas grew up with. And that was kind of his genius idea, because Star Wars was like that too. He's like, you know what? I think this would be really good if we like did a modern version of that, but just did it really good. I think people would like really like that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it did. And you almost now, so the 30s to the 70s, you know, it's as much or more than where we are now looking back on Indiana Jones. So someone today could be like, man, if we just did an Indiana Jones style movie, but just did it really fucking good, then it actually would possibly make a lot of money, and it could like hit the zeitgeist and everything. But they kind of aren't doing it good enough, and they'll make a new Indiana Jones movie that came out like last year, but that is like a former shot of itself, almost literally, especially with, you know, the like AI young Harrison Ford and
Yeah.
stuff.
So if we're the evil executives and we want to make all the money in the world, we need to find a classic story that hasn't been remade yet, but basically make a very good version of it. We need to find our Indiana Jones to make new again, that everyone forgets about the thing we're taking from and just sees our thing, which means like
Oh yeah.
give it a good coat of paint, because that's almost what gets parodied. Like, even though the stories are like classic, built into your DNA, it's all from evolution. But like when you make a parody, it's kind of like they parody the coat of paint around it. like Spaceballs isn't making fun of the story within Star Wars. It's making fun of like the visuals and specific character relationships that were used in Star Wars, right? Like the designs and the way they painted that story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ellie says, new Indiana Jones game, The Circle, feels like classic Jones. I think I'm going to cry when I play it. Yeah, the crying is like, that's like your tear ducts activating. It's not even related to like sadness or emotion. It's related to, sometimes it's related to nostalgia or whatever. But that's like what was fueling George Lucas. And yeah, so I do wonder, like, this is the question is like, what was from our childhood, like kind of what Jake's saying, but it should come from our childhood, I think. And that's like, it is these things like that other people, because like kids today, they don't watch Indiana Jones and they don't give a shit about Star Wars.
Right.
So you actually could do a Star Wars, but do it good. Like they'd have to do it like really fucking good. But if they did it really good, then it could recapture everything and hit the zeitgeist or whatever. But I'm a little curious from our childhood, what was there that could be mined in the same way George Lucas mined the serials. I don't know. Like that's what I'm asking you. You know, one thing was like our children's stories were cooler. The children's movies, they were like darker and cooler. They're like Never Ending Story. You know.
You ever seen Blank Check?
Oh,
Yeah,
I remember the trailer for it and really wanting to watch it and getting really excited about it. And I've never watched it in my life, but I
You should watch
remember
it.
the
It's good.
trailer as a kid.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Kids get a blank check and they just get to buy whatever the fuck they want, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Sounds like a
I mean,
terrible idea.
I guess someone could
Don't
do.
create for the zeitgeist, create for yourself. That's what people really want. I think I agree with that, but almost we're role
executives
playing
tonight.
We're
as heartless
soulless
executives.
executives,
Right now.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna use AI in a second, maybe. FKA says, "What movie series do you think started parodying themselves as they went on? I think Terminator is one as they add a lot more humor. That's funny because a lot of series add humor as they go, and that explains it. That kind of explains it. They're becoming self-aware, and then they get funny. But yeah, like Fast and Furious, but Fast and Furious was already a little crazy. But if you watch the first one, it was nowhere near
Right.
where it went. Yeah,
Fast
Yeah.
and Furious, like that franchise
Saw.
could be parodied with itself. Like the Wayans brothers could totally do a Fast and Furious parody.
yeah, yep. And I mentioned Saw. Saw is another one too, and it could almost be parodied. Actually, Saw, like the Saw parody would be like a guy like where like I don't know if the stakes are like really stupid or whatever. Like if you have 2 seconds to make a hard decision, and if you're wrong, then strawberry shortcake is going to dribble down your chin. I'm going to take a photo of you and give it to your girlfriend.
I literally saw a parody tweet of fucking Saw today. It's like, remember that bug you stepped on 30 years ago? Well, now get ready for the molten iron pouring down your urethra.
Yeah, that is funny.
Hardcore.
So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street definitely did that as it went on as well, getting
Oh, yeah.
more humorous.
Yeah. And James Bond. Bond's a funny one because I think Bond might be the earliest of everything on this list. Bond was like 60s, early 60s, and they
Yeah.
invented everything they did with that pretty much.
Would you consider the like Leslie Nielsen things, like say Spy Hard, that's kind of like a genre parody of Spy? Like, okay, the one comedy adjacent episode we did, it was exploring the idea of the absurd and the absurd, right? The ridiculous and the ridiculous, like normal and absurd. So a parody is trying to take something that was fully earnest and making it absurd, right?
Yeah.
Like that's pretty. So if you want to make a new parody, find the most earnest possible film and then make it ridiculous. It's not even like that could be a sweet a formula.
And that's good. That makes me think it is like Game of Thrones is like pretty earnest in what it's trying to do. and that's the thing that could be most easily parodied.
Well, this is what I would do is the Del Toro film The Shape of Water, which is super like serious love story. You could totally parody the hell out of that.
No, okay, but to parody that, you'd have to have like a guy who worked in an aquarium and it's an actual fish or something. You know what I mean? Like that's how you parody that to make it absurd.
Or no, like the alien girl could end up being like kind of like annoying or something, or I don't know.
The
yeah.
alien girl.
That's how you flip it. The woman's like really annoying, and the fish guy is like, "Man, I wish this woman would leave me alone. How do I get out of this tank?"
Yeah, he's like,
Mm.
I'm a fish god, and I have to hang out with this chick, and then he blows his brains out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hate for this movie going around here.
Oh, it's a great movie. I love the movie.
Mm.
Movie of the year for that year. You guys ever
It
see
is very parodiable.
Top Secret? I think
No.
it's Val Kilmer's first film, and it's just like a total spy parody movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that one is good. I think that's Zucker Brothers. They have some really funny jokes in it. Can you make a genuine parody? Yeah, I kind of think like some of the good ones we've mentioned, like Scream, so good, and it's like weird because it's serious in its own way. It like keeps a straight face. And maybe Cerebus if we're talking comics, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it's like if you take your own Young Frankenstein, all the best ones, and even Not Another Teen Movie, like they tell their own story and kind of take it seriously, but then they're having fun along the way. Which actually that is like kind of sounds like what you're doing with Carnal, Jake. Is
trying my best.
Yeah,
That's the hope. That's the formula.
How does Cerebus evolve out of that parody? Because I mean, I know it's a super long story, but I've seen panels of him just like living in an apartment, and he's not a barbarian,
yeah. Well, it's like
He has a wife.
I'm halfway through the second one, which is called High Society, and he's living in a hotel, but it's like I think it's still barbarian times, but the hotel looks a little more like 18th century even, but yeah, in that the plot is it is like spoofing finance and politics and high society, and that whole stuff is all great, but then they still keep like there's a guy named the Roach who he'll always look a little bit, he'll be a spoof of like a different superhero at any point in time, and I think he might just be more of like a Batman stand-in now, but he's this crazy guy who has multiple personalities where he gives himself his own narration while he's fighting and arguing with himself, and he tries to give like Batman style narration as he's like killing people.
Yeah.
He's a communist, I think, and like so whenever he's like there, it's ridiculous, but he plays a big part in the story too. So it's a fun balance of you're like, well, this story's like kind of serious in a way, and then there's just completely ridiculous stuff also. And I think parodies can kind of tend to have a little bit of that.
You know what? Bancroft is pointing out one of the best recent parodies. So Weird Al, they made a Weird Al movie. I think it's just called Weird. And they said it's like a biopic of his life, but it's completely fictional. Like it's a parody of his career. Like they say that he actually invented Eat It before Michael Jackson came out with Beat It and stuff. Like he's the one doing the parody version first. And it's like Madonna is trying to get with him so that like she can get him to do a parody of her song, because as soon as they make a parody version exists, like she'll sell loads. Like that is like a weak, because he is the ultimate parody musician, right? So that is it's like I've never seen a parody like that before. It's a very unique style of parody.
Is that with Harry Potter playing?
Yeah.
Weird Al?
Yeah. Weird Potter.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Yanko.
FKA, was Batman 66 a parody of the Batman franchise or a genuine reflection of the 50s and 60s? I almost think the second, but I'm no expert. Phil, do you know?
It's hard. You'd have to ask someone that was watching it when it was airing, but it seems to me that everybody knew it was tongue in cheek, except for maybe the kids that were watching it, you know? And
Oh, yeah.
the people putting it together, it obviously almost seemed like a kid's show, and the actors knew that it was really campy and
Yeah.
seemed humorous, you know?
You know, something with that one, that could be a little something that, you know, directionally it feels a little fresh these days. Like everyone's still kind of so serious. But
Yeah.
I was like, I was gonna watch it and I can't find it. I think it's on Apple TV, maybe, which I don't have a subscription to.
Oh, it's
But I was
great.
gonna, and I still will. Like I'm gonna watch that series from start to finish as soon as, and maybe the movie. I'll watch the movie. I can start
You
with the
could
movie.
you could just watch the movie on its own, either before or after you watch the series. And that movie, like I grew up with that. Like it's good.
Yeah, because that would be a fun. I would read that and really enjoy it if someone like Tomorrow kickstarted like in the style of Batman 66. We have this. Da, 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 da. I'd be like,
They
oh,
they did a Batman 66 comic series for a while, probably like 10 years ago. It's Alex Ross did a bunch of covers for it. They're freaking awesome.
oh, nice.
Yeah. It's fun.
Walk Hard parody walk. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can maybe come back if anything comes up, but I don't know what this leaves us with. Oh yeah, as Heartless executives, I don't know if we came to any conclusions. The other thing is like there's not that many recent movies. Like we're thinking of should they hit the zeitgeist that you can parody or that you can imitate?
The thing is,
And it's only like Game of Thrones. It's like the only thing.
I would choose John Wick, even though they've done it.
Oh,
They've
John Wick. Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and like the John Wick knockoffs are usually always like hot chick assassin movies that the film is one short female name.
Oh yeah, like
you know,
Salt.
yeah,
but that
Salt
was before
or
John Wick.
or
Yeah.
I could throw another suggestion into the arena because if we're just I'm like the executive, we're just thinking inside the box, guys. We need to get outside this box. We're thinking of things that people have already made into movies that we can parody. What if we make parodies of aspects of modern culture, as in, okay, currently, what is the biggest idea that's constantly going around nowadays? Everything is like a new conspiracy theory or a new psyop or anything. You could have a movie called Psyop that is basically a parody of all of the conspiracy theories at once. And it's like it could follow like CIA agents trying to do the next psyop, but they've thought of everything and they can't make up a new one. And then
at the end, it's revealed that Taylor Swift is the ultimate psyop.
It's like a heist movie. The psyop was in place all along.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Pretty good.
Good parody. But yeah, but IPs, like new IPs that could be knocked off. It's hard to.
And we could put Jake's psyop stuff into him too.
You could.
You could put the John Wick stuff into, like, if you did like a Game of Thrones parody, you could put a John Wick one-word syllable chick in it.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of you know what? This was kind of making me laugh, but it was in Elden Ring, which is written by George R.R. Martin, but you're called a tarnished, and that's like it's like awaken tarnished. That's how it starts, and you like wake up, blah blah blah. And then there was this other game that is like, it's a Souls-like, so it's exactly, but it's lower budget. I forget what that one's called, but it's exactly like Elden Ring. So people are playing it. If you've already beaten Elden Ring, you like that kind of game, you'll play this game. And in this one, like your guy gets awoken at the beginning and he's called like a fallen, I think. And I'm like, are you guys just like looking up like words in the thesaurus, and then that's what you are at the beginning, and then you get like risen or whatever?
Edgy words.
Yeah, and so I was like, what are like? In fact, I'm gonna do it right now. I want to look up thesaurus for like.
Well, you just said risen. So you would make if you do one, you would call you the guy would be a risen.
Yeah, but whatever is like
And a
even the
risen.
most
Sleep
funny.
risen.
Yeah.
Rise, risen.
Rise.
Let me see. So,
Tay.
other words for tarnished: blurred, cloudy, dark, dingy, dull, faint, fuzzy, gloomy, lackluster, murky, shadowy.
Tainted. You are tainted.
I like dingy.
Dude. Yeah. The
Dingy.
tainted
Sounds like a
the
boat.
tainted is hilarious. That's what it should be. So it'd be like rise tainted.
Rise, taint.
Yeah, you are of the taint.
Great
Taint
choice.
is spread in the
Press
land.
forward.
And all these
Press forward.
NPCs like the taint took over since the taint.
Get that taint over there.
The day the tank came and took us.
Okay.
Rise
Yeah.
taint.
Because all of those Souls games, they are like supremely earnest, right? There's no comedic.
Dismal. Yeah.
So yeah, you could do a parody of that, like Rise Taint.
Oh, it's not dingy, it's dingy. Not dingy and fair. Thank
Yeah.
you. Dingy.
But yeah, calling the dude the taint is hilarious. Rise taint. Angela
They'd all
Cruz,
yeah,
Angela
they'd
Cruz.
all have to have really overly British accents. They'd have to be
Or
some
like,
ridiculous task you have to do.
Yeah. It starts with a ridiculous task, and there's all these NPCs that all are ridiculous. Elden Ring has some other stuff that all of it could totally be parodied, but some of it people were laughing because even though it takes it so seriously, it's still funny when if it's whether or not you're maidenless. Like, are you maidenless, Taint? Do you have a maiden yet?
A maidenless taint. There's nothing worse than a maidenless taint.
Yeah. Lonely.
Lonely taint.
Yeah,
Lonely.
and I watched hours of lore on Elden Ring, and it's all great and it's fun. But it's like, yeah, you could totally spoof some of that. The other thing is just the huge that it is so much lore, like it's all already happened. The story of Elden Ring's kind of funny because all you're doing, it's like something kind of happened and kind of got frozen a little bit in time or whatever. So you're going and then you're waking up people. They were in the middle of this huge, like, epic saga of drama, like, but almost like a, what do you call it? Like a soap opera. This operatic thing. And so you go and you wake up like this godlike warrior, and the first thing they do is they like try and kill you, so you kill them, and then you go and you do the next one, you wake them up, and they try and kill you, so you kill them. So you're just going through this story, destroying the story by killing all the players in the story, and at the end you kill like the head player, and then the story's over. Like the story never gets to finish because it's just you stopping the story.
So
funny.
you can get some comedy out of that. That there is like constant classic stories, and everyone's on these arcs, and there's just this guy going around ending everyone else's arcs.
Yeah. Yeah, I also thought
Meta.
it could be funny if like, but this is almost too stupid, but it could be funny if like, it's like, rise taint, the milk is spoiled. You must go to the store.
Just really arbitrary, mundane tasks.
Yeah, but it's your roommate who sends you. And you're like, God, why do you have to talk like that all the time?
Your college roommate is a
Yeah. He's like, it's your turn, taint. I got the milk last time.
wash the dishes. The sink's full.
Yeah.
Really,
The sink
really-
is smarmy. The sink.
A bit dingy in here, isn't it? In it.
I really
sink
think
has
this.
mildew.
There's gotta. I really think there's something at the heart of this, though. Of all the suggestions and bullshit that we talk about, like, if because we've already explored, like, oh, take a classic actual story and put it in that. You know what I mean? Take it where it becomes an actual thing and not just like a cheap parody. It becomes its own story whilst being a parody of that genre of game with the ridiculous lore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, that tone that we're joking around with now, Bancroft points out, that is what we do in the shadows. Does that joke? But if you could do a we do in the shadows version, but it's Elden Ring and or Game of Thrones, that would be funny too. But
Yeah. Doable.
but yeah, so I think these are kind of one thing, but so this is loosely related as well. This is a type of movie that has been rarely made. It never made enough money to get remade a bunch, to get knocked off and parodied. But these movies are all great, and they're a very specific subgenre that I want to explain to you guys, because this is something that I just want to do anyway. But like, it could maybe fit into what we're trying to do.
Or take down that comment. What's that Joaquin Phoenix movie?
Bo is Afraid, which I haven't seen, but I hear at least the first half sounds like it's a lot like.
I watched it, and it felt like it was 5 hours long. And
Are these like the world is a lie stories?
Well, yeah. So a lot of them are, maybe it's a little bit like that, but a lot of the, like, first off, After Hours is kind of my new favorite, and I just love that movie. I talked about it a little bit like a month ago or whatever, but so After Hours it's just one surreal, crazy night that really sucks for this guy, where everything goes wrong. But it all takes place in New York, in like one borough of New York, and he's just trying to catch a taxi home, but he doesn't have any money. So he's like trying to get a little money first, and then he can go home, but then nothing. He's just stuck there all night. Everything goes wrong. He can never get home. And then, but by the end, somehow, like, he's been sort of like misaccused of some crimes. And so an unruly mob, like a Simpsons-esque mob, literally is after him. And so that's like the last third of the movie is him like hiding from a mob in New York. So that's kind of how it escalates. So it doesn't get boring. But it's funny, yeah. It's like a weird structure. I don't know what you could relate it to. Like, there might be some like, some like Shakespearean or Roman style stuff, but a lot of these take place in just one night. Eyes Wide Shut's like this. A lot of these are a guy roaming the streets, and they can be kind of episodic, borderline random. Like the idea of like the guy walks into a room, and the room will have like a character in it, and then like a scene will happen. And it will not be boring, and it will be awesome. And then he'll like leave or get kicked out or whatever. And then he goes to another spot, another awesome, meets another weird.
That After Hours reminds me of The Warriors. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, The Warriors is like that. It almost could be in this category. I don't know if I added. I should have added if I did.
And I think, someone correct me if I'm wrong, is The Warriors not based off of some like historical story as well?
It is. It's based off a Roman campaign against
Yeah.
Persia, where some mercenaries got caught behind enemy lines because the rich Roman who was hiring all of them, in the first battle, he gets murdered right away.
Yeah.
And so they all disperse, but they're stuck way behind enemy lines, and they have to just get home. And that's the identical plot of The Warriors. Yeah.
That's awesome. Warriors is, and it probably was knocked off, but I can't think of any that come to mind. Like, it's a pretty mainstay, like, cultural movie.
Yeah. And it has like every episode of like problems that they run into on their way home. Like that could be compared to like the Odyssey. Even,
Yeah,
or
no,
whatever.
for sure.
They're all like
Exactly.
short stories, and they're all so fun. And After Hours is kind of like that too. After Hours is actually, I think you could compare it to the Odyssey. It's like he wants to go home, and just shit keeps effing with him that he can't get home from just on a night in New York City. And it's like a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and Good Times a little bit like that. Eyes Wide Shut is a little bit like that. So this is the subgenre. Is like walking around New York City, random encounters that make short stories. Takes place in one night often. That's about it. And it doesn't have to be New York, but that's cool if it is. But those kind of stories are a lot of fun, and that could be. It could almost fit with like a Elden Ring spoof parody kind of thing. You could almost try and do it that way. But
Yeah, the Beau is Afraid was maddening. But it's
Yeah.
also like that, like everything bad happens to this guy, but he just like crying through the whole film, basically.
Is it like wrong guy in the wrong place ish?
No, I mean, you don't even really like have any sympathy for him. He lives in a really bad apartment complex, and he goes out to get mail, but he forgets to bring his keys, and then like everybody that's like homeless on the street just piles into his apartment and locks him out, so he's locked out of his apartment, and then it was just a blur from there. And at the end, are you gonna watch it, Pear?
no. Well, I want spoilers. I might watch it, but
You do
He
want
dies.
spoilers or no?
I do want spoilers.
So the big spoiler at the end is he finds out that his father is a giant mutant phallus in his mother's attic.
Okay. Nice.
And that's the end.
I'm
What?
into it.
Sounds
Cool.
yeah.
It was horrible.
Wow. What a great reveal.
I don't even know why.
Did you number the fucking episode wrong on purpose again? I just realized it's not 56. What
Yeah,
the
but didn't
fuck?
we just do 69?
Oh my god! No, the last one was 71. This episode's 72.
Yeah.
Every time you just pick a number for fun. Okay. Yeah.
No, he looks at the last show that he hosted
did.
and then follows it.
Yeah, probably. Yo, what's
Yeah.
up, whack ass?
Well, so I've been trying to think. I've been trying to think of this Souls parody, and I'm thinking that like you need another element that adds to the premise, at its core, right at the beginning. So it's like, and the easiest way to do that is like, who is the taint? Who is this taint? You know what I mean? Like, is the taint like? Okay, I'm just gonna mention a couple of ideas. These aren't just to provide a range. Like you could have a guy that's isekai, like a normal schlubby guy that's isekai'd into the taint role, and then for them it's fish out of water in the taint world, dying over and over again, and they're like Groundhog Day style, trapped forever, having to like and like imagine they die, and then because like you want that rise taint line, right? So they die, and then every time they wake up, and like you just imagine it's the 50th time, and it's just a shot of their eyes opening as they wake up, and you just hear the same witch woman saying, "Rise, taint," and then it like cuts ahead to him like towards the end of the quest again. You know what I mean? Like it's almost Holy Grail-ish, where like he'll fuck up one thing and has to restart the whole thing. You know what I mean?
For all the people that just joined the stream, yes, Jake was saying taint. I know there's no context to what he said.
We will not explain this. You'll have to roll back.
You have to
and
watch the
find out
episode.
for yourself. Yes.
Yeah, it's basically like Hamlet, where he dies with special taint poisoning.
Bancroft says, imagine bringing the taint and the giant mutant phallus together in one film. The final boss might have to be a giant phallus. Like you would have to make it absurd in some way. Like you are foul-stricken. The great foul-stricken has rancified these lands, and it's like literally because they have characters that slowly turn into like monsters and shit, right? Like in Bloodborne, they took the umbral blood and they slowly became monsters. Like the final boss literally could become a giant mutant phallus because he indulged too much of the sacred blood. And it's like literally that they would have an order of people where they cut their dicks off, and that's how they get their world's adrenochrome, right? And he's like some high priest of dictrinochrome, and it slowly turned he himself into the phallus born. and the taint is who must slay the falsified great lord.
Bill
And
is
it's
off camera, and Jean-Luc Connery is begging for mercy.
Yeah. Well, so
and it's Groundhog Day with a fish out of water in the taint roll. Okay, we got it.
This is what happens when you let Jake run loose.
yeah. No, yeah, that I think that
Brilliant.
still fits a lot of what the way it works in Elden Ring and stuff. Even the Groundhog Day style thing, kind of like a video game. But so the taint could be like whatever you speak of the taint. What is the taint? He's like, the taint is the land between the sun and the moon.
The rising sun and the cratering moon.
Look in the sky between the sun and the moon. It's the taint. It rises.
You must enter deep through Earth's crater and travel through the tainted path, the path of the taint, and then you
Speak
reach
of the taint. Yeah.
you reach the phallic peak, where the rancid lord will reign supreme.
Chat, I apologize for starting the taint jokes. I didn't realize the path we would be heading towards.
You didn't realize what a powerful new word you had your hands on.
Yeah, I did not. I should have been more aware. I didn't think that. I mean, I've gotten used to the peen jokes, but I didn't realize there was a whole unexplored landscape.
I seriously want to pursue this.
Oh my god!
Of course I do. It's so good. It would make
What
a funny,
happened?
it would make a funny one-shot thing. Come on. Like it's so like honestly, like Souls games are so culturally widely known that it is prime for parody. And like if you just made like a manga style one-shot chapter thing of this, like it would work. And if you put it up for free somewhere, it could if you do a good job, it could end up becoming really popular.
Okay,
Phil,
let me
you
just
missed a
read
lot.
a little bit of this and see if
That's
it
a lot.
was cringe or whatever. But in the forgotten realms of Elden Bling, where fashion and madness collide, the tainted wander. Plagued by questionable choices and a tendency to trip over their own ambitions, they seek the shards of the tainted ring, scattered far and wide. Characters: the overconfident merchant, the jaded knight, the eccentric sorcerer. If I'm happy, roll also fireball. Gameplay mechanics, tainted
type-
skills.
Just made a whole game
Tell-
for you.
Tell ChatGPT, write that again, but make it funny.
Okay. Wait, I go to the bottom maybe? Yeah. Wait.
What have you guys done?
I don't know where. I have no idea what's going on. I take
go.
no responsibility for
Wait.
this.
I want to read these characters. Because they've got the tainted. So the taint, a clumsy hero with a knack for getting in trouble. They stumble through the land, always one step ahead of disaster. See, this is fish out of water. Guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Love it.
Constantly dies, and then like eventually becomes the hero.
Sir
Often
Reginald
found
the
in a patch of
Reluctant.
daisies.
Yeah, maybe Sir Reginald is a taint of old that managed to break out of the cycle, and he becomes like a teacher to the taint of new. But he like never reveals that he is like a detainted.
Yeah. Let me try this. I'm gonna ask it. Can you parody Elden Ring's lore creation lore for me? Question mark. The tainted
Should we
ring,
do
a
a dram-
parody of Elden Ring lore.
Should we do a dramatic
Yeah,
reading?
you gotta read it, yeah.
In the beginning. Yeah, do you want to do it or can you see it, Jake?
Yeah, I could. In the beginning, there was chaos, a swirling void of half-baked ideas and mismatched socks. From the mess emerged the great spoof. Oh, this is not very good. A cosmic being with a terrible sense of humor. Okay. With a flick of his wrist, it created the lands of Elden Bling, a realm where everything was slightly off kilter. The great spoof summoned the Elden Bling, a shiny artifact of immense power, but in a classic blunder, it forgot to add a user manual. Instead, it split the bling into several pieces, each imbued with traits like slightly shiny and mildly powerful and guaranteed to attract cats. A little bit Whedon-esque. The great spoof then created the Tainted, the unwitting heroes tasked with finding the fragments of the Tainted Ring. But in a moment of sheer comedic genius, it also created the Flawless, a race of beings who took themselves far too seriously. The Flawless thought they were destined to restore order, but then mostly just argued about who looked better in armor. I mean, there's a couple of
There's
elements
more.
there that could work.
There's more.
The Shattering.
Shattering.
The Rise of the Tainted. The
Ooh, that's
Forest of
amazing.
Why Not? The Lake of
What is it?
Regrets. Where every
The
Tainted
Forest-
was forced to relive their most embarrassing moments.
These are great. Let's just do this.
Wait, we could use this to write books for us? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Phil is only just realizing that he can use ChatGPT to think of stuff really quick that he wouldn't have.
Damn it! I've been racking my brain for days about this stupid book.
You could just press a button, Phil.
Could have just typed it in.
You could just press the button.
Yeah, it is when someone said good for Springboard. There's little things that are good, like even the Flawless. That's kind of funny. I don't know if you'd want to do that, but just
It
the word,
feels
the
like a
Shattering is
Dungeons and
funny.
It feels like a Dungeons and Dragons the movie, The Flawless. Like how the joke is that they just argue over who looks better, and they're like elf people, and they, you know, ha 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 ha.
Yeah. Yeah, the difference between this and if we move forward, it would be like that transition to making it more like Young Frankenstein or Shaun of the Dead, where all of a sudden it is kind of an earnest little story in its own right, but it's still a parody. Like that's when you get that balance where it's actually like a lot of fun.
So you would, okay, if you're actually making a parody, you would basically travel around a world and he would enter areas that are like a new problem, but the areas can be parodies of like sections of Soulsborne lore, right? Like in Bloodborne, there's a village of people doing witch burnings and shit, and you like pair that with just like the backwards bumpkin. Oh, we'll burn anyone. Oh, you stepped out of order. We're gonna burn you. And like you just have a shitty countryside village. Like that's one section of it, right? Then obviously you have like upper crusty religious types that are doing something weird in secret. Like yeah, it kind of ends up being like a fantasy parody, but you mine all the different lore chunks of like the Soulsborne series to parody those directly. Like in Elden Ring, there's a magic school. You just make, you get enrolled and you put a sorting hat on, and it's like a mix of that magic school and Harry Potter.
Yeah, but yeah, like Elden Ring. What I remember from the actual like lore video is like, I forget the original god what it was called, but they said it sent like the Elden Ring to the planet, if it was, I don't know if it was Earth or not, as a comet, and that was like the first comet, and there was like a second and third comet, like, and then there were dragons that ruled for a while, but then they kind of faded, and then there was some other shit. So
I do like that this is a creation myth is like it's a god that just like fucks stuff up. It's getting eerily close to carnal creation lore.
To what ChatGPT told you to write for Carl?
Like a god that's like ha 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 make this world, and they just like they accidentally screw it all up and make a very stupid world.
Spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, creating the tainted, that was one keeper. That's funny. You know, that fits with the like super early. I'm trying to think which one it was. Maybe it was Canaanite lore or something like super early gods from like Mesopotamia. But what they were saying is that the gods, they created the first version of man. They molded him out of clay, and they used them for workers because they're like, shit, we got a lot to do. We got to run this whole planet. So
Yeah.
they created man, and it was the workers, but the workers couldn't reproduce, and so they had to like keep making them, and they kind of sucked or whatever. So they're like, we got to make it so that they can reproduce on their own, and then we can really chill and just watch them go. So they did that, and then that was man, and that was like the beginning. And I don't know, that was cool. But that reminded me of like, that's like AI. That's where we are with AI right now. Like, we haven't made AI that can reproduce yet, but as soon as we do, it's going to be crazy.
Now I just need AI to ask this AI questions, so I don't have to ask it any questions.
I think you can do that. Like, you could literally start it off. Like, you just basically have two separate windows open, and you tell one of them to play the role of like, okay, you
You're a
need
good
two windows.
writer. Asking.
You need one of them. You tell one of them to play the role of like a cold-hearted film executive that's trying to make the next big movie, that's using AI that's to make AI prompts. Then you feed those AI prompts into another one that you've told to be
Yes.
the AI serving, and you just keep going around in circles, pasting them from each other.
It's a little worrisome that Jake just came up with a way to hack the system so quickly and put in no effort for work
Yeah.
ever again.
Oh my god.
It's the duty of man.
All right, if
It
you
never
were a
worked
cold-hearted
again.
film executive using AI to make a movie that captures the zeitgeist and enters the Western canon, what would you do
Let's do it.
to make? What
Wait,
movie
but and
would
all,
you make? What?
okay. FK says he thinks I'm AI. I mean,
Here we go. Echoes of Tomorrow.
That's a good. Isn't it a good name? Is it time travel?
Set in a
Technology versus-
near-future society, the film explores the consequences of an AI-driven world where memories can be harvested and sold. The protagonist, a memory broker named Sam, stumbles upon a memory that reveals a hidden truth about the system's origin, one that could change the fabric of reality itself.
This
Didn't
sounds,
we?
this sounds
wait,
awesome.
Well, you know what? This is a
No, we've
problem
come
because
up with
this has
this.
already been done. It's a Philip K. Dick short story, and it's called "We Can Remember It for You Wholesale." Is like the actual everything this says. Is
Wait,
I swear we've talked about this concept before on the show. Either someone else who did it or we made it up during the show. It's no. It was yeah. I remember it now. It was a guy. Okay, it was like related to Elon Musk brain trip stuff. I was doing this whole spiel.
Oh my god.
That's it. There was a guy who would go and have like party vacations so that he could sell the memory. Like he could. People would be like live stream hacking in through VR. They would be having his
Cool. Like
party
surrogate.
weekend. We came up with this. I am
Party
the AI.
surrogate. That sounds awesome.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Wait, Pierre, isn't that Philip K. Dick story Total Recall?
Yeah, it got made into a movie as Total Recall, which
Oh,
is
cool.
similar. But yeah,
Shit, here, pull up my screen again. I want to show Irene that. This is big news, Irene.
did
Mm-hmm.
Mudang really get shot?
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yeah. No, I've seen this picture. You're not fooling me.
Rip pouring out for you, boy.
Look at those little nubby feet. It's a girl. Muding's a girl.
Not in my
Camel
mind.
says, "Isn't that Strange Days?" Never heard of that, so I'm gonna look at it right now.
Muding.
Camel, I gotta stop talking to Camel because I'm like, oh, dude, I got this cool idea for this story. He's like, dude, that was in this comic book. I'm like,
Phil,
damn it, Camel.
no, but it's okay to still do those things. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who gives a
Push him out
fuck?
of his wheelchair.
You might even do it better. Who gives a fuck if someone else has done it? Simpsons did everything.
It's a cyberpunk story.
What's
Everything is a
a
cyberpunk
great
story.
random cyberpunk idea?
What was that? It had huge jacked man in it. It was like a memory thing where he had like it was like in the future he had like a shop that was like they went into people's brains and looked for memories in them, but then he had like a whole memory recall thing.
No, Hugh Jackman's not in it. You're thinking of
Huge jacked man, get it right.
fucking I just had it. Minority Report
No, it's not Minority Report.
with Tom Cruise.
They should do a parody of Minority Report where the fucking three things in the tank are unfairly targeting minorities with their future crime, and it's all a racist plot that was made by the creators of the three. That would be great. That's a great parody.
Johnny
God.
Mnemonic, which is a Keanu Reeves movie that I want to watch that I have not. Once I get into my cyberpunk phase of writing, I'm gonna be watching and reading a lot of cyberpunk movies.
Why has no one done that as a parody of Minority Report? It's right in the fucking name. Okay, the film was called Reminiscence. People should watch Reminiscence.
Hugh Jackman's in it?
Oh,
Huge
yeah,
jacked
yeah.
man is in it.
Is that the one where he's hacking and he's getting a BJ at the
Yeah,
same
I'll
time?
pass. I'll pass on that one.
No, that's Swordfish with
That is Swordfish. That was a test, Jake. He passed.
with the Hollywood's one black woman at the time.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry's Tiny Berries.
They were nice.
Is that your character from your first comic, Rini?
No, it's just something I'm drawing for an auction. But I am going back to my.
That's Assault.
Speaking of cyberpunk,
It's a fish though; they don't count.
Cyberpunk is the future. Someone
Cyberpunk's
needs to
good.
do a good cyberpunk story.
Cyberpunk is like 5 years ago, actually. Wait, is it 5 years? When did
Cyberpunk is-
Cyberpunk come out?
10
well,
years.
the game was 5 years
Oh.
ago. but
Tabletop
Ooh.
game was like
book was forever ago.
80s.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We need to make the next punk. We need to make wood punk. Wood punk. That's just fantasy.
Wood punk. No, I had a punk. That had a cool thing.
Oh no, Camel says Reminiscence is awful. It's all shot on a soundstage. I'm a romantic, Camel.
What about gore punk?
Oh, speaking of shot on a soundstage, which that made me think of Megalopolis, but Megalopolis is actually not shot on a soundstage. Just a couple shots, maybe.
Green
but-
screen. It's
and
all
they're
shot
kinda
in
on
front of green
purpose.
screen.
But Megalopolis was so great. I highly recommend it. But you kind of
Really?
gotta be in the mood for something weird. But it's not boring. That's what's so fun about it. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
What's
It's
the
not
plot?
boring at all. It's like it's kind of intense about how much shit's coming at you the whole time.
What's the
And you're
plot?
like, damn, what the hell? And actually, I watched. So Francis Ford Coppola made it, and people were like, "It's not as good as The Godfather or Apocalypse Now, which are masterpieces. And
Right.
It's kind of bad compared to those. So
Mhm.
that's kind of too bad. But I kind of randomly watched Rumblefish, which is like a movie he
Oh.
did a little bit after that era, a black and white movie.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, and it's great, but it's kind of artsy fartsy and pretentious too, and it's a little weird. And then so if you watch that and then watch Megalopolis, you're like, oh, these are like on the same level. This is good. And then he did a movie called Twixt, which is like all digital, low budget. It's not bad per se, but it's like it's terrible compared to Megalopolis. So that in a way that kind of makes you like
I love-
Megalopolis more because like, oh yeah, he did level up. Like he did throw everything that he's got.
I love the
to make a
scale.
classic.
Your
Yeah.
scale of movies from this guy.
Yeah, it is weird. He's all over the place, but Megalopolis is amazing.
What if the Taint had more of a Life of Brian, not actually Jesus thing going on?
Life of Brian. That's those Brits, right?
Yeah,
I never seen
he's
it.
not. He's not the Taint. He's a very naughty boy. You didn't want to smile at that one, but you did.
It's the accent.
He's not the taint. He's a very naughty boy.
Oh God.
I swear, I'm not the taint. I'm not the. I'm just not. Okay, I can't even wield a sword. Then like drops it, and then it like kills. Oh my God! You've killed Nefarious the Fourth. He's a bloody bastard. He is. He really is the bloody taint. Quick, give him a level up. Give him many souls, and then like a bunch of people start sacrificing themselves, and all of their souls start going into this guy. Like, no, don't stop killing yourself. I'm not the taint.
That'd be funny. Characters like that, where they're like dumb, lucky characters. Those could be really fun, and you can make them look like anything, like very drastically different. Like the main character from Big Trouble in Little China is a dumb, lucky character. Like he's really cool, but anything he does that succeeds is just out of dumb luck. Like
isn't the way he succeeds usually counter to what their actual goals are too, or
yeah, well, there's like he gets an Uzi and he sees some bad guys and he shoots at them, doesn't hit them at all, but the rubble from the ceiling falls off and hits them in the head and it knocks them out. Like, and it plays well into comedy as well.
Well, like literally the way that
Oh
works
my
is
God.
because they're not aiming to do it. Like makes you
Right.
not think it's like a cheap, easy win, right?
Mhm.
You
Right.
guys, I actually hacked it a little bit. So let me just read this because it's good so far.
All right.
Title: The Taint's Mundane Mission. After being resurrected from the underworld, the Taint is summoned to New York City for a task that seems trivial, but is crucial for maintaining the delicate balance between the living and the dead. First task: deliver a pizza. Premise: the Taint's first assignment is to deliver a pizza to a reclusive client living in a high-rise apartment. The twist: the client is actually a powerful, cranky spirit who refuses to cross over until they receive their favorite slice. The bustling streets of New York City, with all the noise, chaos, and vibrant life that comes with it, the Taint navigates crowded sidewalks, honking taxis, and tourists taking selfies, all while grappling with the absurdity of his task.
So is it the modern world, but in the style of a Soulsborne game?
I feel it's diverged a bit there.
Feel what?
It's diverged a bit to modern day.
Yeah.
Well, I hate the Taint. And I
Yeah.
hope he knows it.
No,
The Taint
I mean,
is the land
Dale-
between the sun and the moon.
Dale A says someday in the future, Phil will sue Jake for ownership of the Taint IP. So
Yeah.
I look forward to you coming around on the idea and one day trying to claw it from me.
Mhm.
You'll lose the lawsuit though, simply because you won't want to go to Discovery. So you'll settle and pay me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one will know if I've won or lost, though.
Yeah.
Guys, I have
Somebody
one
keeps
last
finding
thing to
ideas.
discuss.
It'll be a mystery.
You'll own
Alex,
NDA.
by the way, if you have the meme, drop it pretty soon because we'll wrap up in like 15 minutes or so. But
Meme!
let's talk.
Please save us.
So one thing is Tanner Edelman, aka Noble Comics, Cardinal Starstruck. Only 6 backers, 11 days left. So this one has not popped off at all. If I definitely want to help him if anyone gets a chance, back it. But so I can kind of help pitch it. So Tanner, he did this one. Where is it? Yeah, The Displacer.
Mm-hmm.
The Displacer is kind of one of my favorites. I really, really like it. And I think he's going to do a sequel. And I haven't read The Cardinal yet, but I have it. And I know it's pretty good. But I mean, like, The Displacer is great. And another, but what's crazy about Tanner, I didn't realize this, but he's 24. So he's younger than Vaughn. He's the new,
Oh my
he's the
god.
new youngest kind of creator in the space, but nobody knows.
People are still having kids out there? Like there's
What are they
Feels like
thinking?
stop having kids.
Yeah.
End society now.
Yeah.
So let everyone know Vaughn is no longer the young baby. There's a new young baby, and it's Tanner Edelman. We should all take him under our wing. We should back his books. And yeah, get the Displacer add-on because that book is great. But yeah, with the I love the young creators because I'm always wondering their future. And Phil used to be a young creator, so we know his future. Like Phil's really
This is it, Phil.
Yeah.
yeah.
Turned out
Phil
great,
is-
guys.
It's like you have no more hope. We were hoping you'd go somewhere, but you've
Yeah.
clearly reached the ceiling. No one advances after 30. So
Yeah.
we're giving up on you. Now we're watching this
What do
guy.
you say? The flame burns brightest at the end of its rope or something like that?
What?
A raccoon always murders when it's cornered. Is that what you're thinking?
That's what it was. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I was saying, I'm like, yeah, dude, when I did Magic Cup, I was like 25 or 24.
Yeah. I think
Crazy.
I think Phil's future is still forming and the heights we don't fully know yet. But actually, yeah, I think there's kind of a
Growing
lot
boy.
of writers. So this is a random, like I put out this random tweet, but so this might be, you can, I don't know how much I even agree with it, but I was trying to draw a comparison to Karen Berger in the 80s, bringing in new talent from Europe, you know, and
Yeah.
and if there was anything equivalent to that would happen today, you would have to go to crowdfunding because crowdfunding, they treat it like an elephant graveyard and they'll have lines they'll say like, if it is like SJW editors or whatever, they're like, oh, nothing's good in crowdfunding. And I'm like, that's not true. There's like quite a bit that's decent. And like, maybe, you know, like there's no artist who's as good as Sean Gordon Murphy or whatever. Like the best of mainstream. Yeah. In crowdfunding, there's nobody that reaches that level, but there's totally good enough to justify kind of, you know, getting it in the mix and then maybe leveling up or whatever. That's another separate thing is like, it depends on the health of the industry, but because part of this is Rob Liefeld talking about there's no young kids in comics. And I'm like, you literally have to hire people a little bit before they're fully ready if you want young kids. I wish the industry could do that. And you actually would kind of like have maybe some books where it's still like, I don't know, like you're hiring them and knowing that they're going to get better over the course of like 20 to 60 pages or something. And yeah, you're kind of eating a little bit of that where that product, maybe it won't sell as good. I don't know. But the industry has to be kind of healthy to even be able to do that. So the industry's been more in a place of, this is like abundance versus scarcity, by the way. But so the industry's feels like they've been more in scarcity where they're like, we aren't even going to bother with you until you become a master like Sean Gordon Murphy, then maybe we'll hire you. And that's kind of like a catch-22. It's like, well, that's never going to happen. And you might get some 40-year-olds breaking into the industry. Which has kind of been what the average has been. And it's been like that for like 10 years or something.
That's kind of true. Oh, go ahead.
I sent check the private chat pair. I found that tweet. What were you gonna say, Irene?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna agree. I think that's an interesting point. It's not super related to what we were talking about, but the idea that they kind of expect you to be a master already, I hadn't thought of it that way, but it's been very frustrating how there isn't an apprenticeship system in American comics. You basically have to work a day job or until and scrape by doing comics on the side until you become a master. But it's this conundrum of how do you become a master if you can't dedicate all of your attention to making comics? And I think the reason we don't have a generation of excellent creators in comics is because basically the industry isn't functioning in a way where you can cultivate that talent. You need to cultivate the next generation, both of readers and of creators.
Yeah.
There's a similar concept that I heard.
You're roboting.
You're roboting. Wait, give it a second, then try again.
Beep.
I think you're back now.
You
I
should
heard
talking.
someone.
You're better.
Talking. I heard like there's something similar going on all over the place where basically it's not like exactly one-to-one. It's like all of the really old people that have stayed in their jobs forever don't want to quit, but they also don't want to train up new people. And that's how you're going to end up getting like a weird form of brain drain where they'll all stop dying off and then no one has been trained to replace them,
Mm.
and then the world falls
Mm.
apart.
Yeah.
The world just dies.
Yeah, Camel Moon says no changing of the guard. Yeah, there is a little bit. There's like an asterisk because it's a special situation because of the weird, like, kind of woke takeover from 2014 to 2022 or whatever. And that was a lot of people that were grandfathered in that would have gotten kicked out, but they kind of acted like cowards. They pulled up the ladders behind them, and not that, and I don't necessarily blame them, and I would easily forgive them, but that's like, it's like a kind of a double whammy of this sort of answers to me. That's part of why if Rob Liefeld. So we found the tweet. Thanks, Phil. But
Yep.
he says like, where's the young, or this is maybe a different one, but where is the young talent? Yeah, and he got in at 19. Yeah, so it's interesting.
I'm sure there are still going to be people, and I do think it probably will come from the indies, but there have got to be people who have been making combi, because what it takes to become a master is you need to put in that myth of, ooh, it's like 10,000 hours. I don't think that's a good summation of what it takes to be a master at a craft. But anyways, there are people who have been hacking away at this since they were 18 and doing the thing, working a day job and trying to work for publishers and failing and trying again. It's just going to be so much harder, and you're going to filter for probably some really good people that are going to break out in the near future, but you're not going to have this explosion. There's going to be very few, I think, because you're basically filtering for only the most persistent and also the luckiest, because not everyone can manage.
Yeah, the situation that allows you to stick with it. So
Yeah.
there's an imaginary class of artists that they've lost, which is kind of sad too.
It's
Mhm.
you know the point you made about like the pulling up of the ladder. I don't think it's even that in a lot of cases. I think it's staying on the ladder. Like, I got to here on the ladder and I'm staying here, so no
Yeah,
one else
just
can get
gripping it
past you.
tightly.
Yeah, it's not even pulling it up. It's just
Yeah.
fucking staying on it.
Yeah. But so one of the things I'll compare it, what I want is like, what I romanticize is the early 90s film industry, and I've compared it to that before on here. But I was thinking one aspect is like crowdfunding is a little bit like this too, but the way film's a little bit crazier. Like, it's a lot harder to make a movie than make a comic, honestly. But the fact that with film for a long time, the system is, if you have the gumption to make your own movie and it isn't terrible, then we're gonna put you into the system. Like, that alone means that you're good to go. And like, it doesn't have to be like the greatest movie. Even it can't be bad, but if you just make a movie, then you're in. And comics, like, it could benefit from a little bit of a system like that. And that relating to crowdfunding is like, everyone who crowdfunds, they're chasing their dream. They have gumption. They are working at their craft. There's all these, they're like kind of self-opting in that's so valuable versus like, I don't know, what other ways you might try to find someone. If you are a Karen Berger type looking for people to hire. And then the other thing is, there's a category in crowdfunding of great writers who aren't working with great artists yet. So their books go unnoticed, but they could easily be brought into the mainstream. If the mainstream was just looking for writers, they could hire these people. And vice versa, kind of maybe with artists, like individually. I don't know how much that it's been paired, where, yeah, you bring the whole pair in. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I feel like that in the last 10 years, where that new fold has come in, instead of looking for talent, they were looking for and wound up with activists and that, especially like bringing in, because you look at the editing staff, a lot of the editing staff is younger, it's like 30 and lower. but the talent is either like what a Camel was saying, people that have been there for 30 years, or people from South America or like the Philippines, that they don't even come into an office or anything or talk. Usually the art people are people from South America that could be younger or older.
It would be really cool if you had like more experienced creators that end up becoming like more of an editor role. Like, why would you have young people as editors? That sounds like actually fucking retarded.
Right.
Like editors should be like long experienced, like storied people who know what the
Right.
fuck they're doing, like
Yeah.
it is in like the Japanese. Why would you have someone fresh who's an editor? That's the most retarded idea ever.
Yeah, and the art of
Mhm.
like an editor too, but
Agreed.
an editor could take a writer under their wing, which sounds kind of crazy because I think the way we think of it now
Sure.
is like writer is above editor. Editor does not write, but like
No,
editor-
editing
that-
is so
that-
important.
That's
Yeah.
what it's like in manga novel. That's what it's like for the magazines. The
Yeah.
editors actually work with the writers and artists to refine what they're doing.
And that's
Yeah.
how it was in the 80s and 90s. Like, who was the big Batman editor when Graham Nolan was drawing Batman? It was Denny O'Neil. Denny O'Neil wrote Batman and The Shadow and a bunch of other stuff for decades before he was the Bat editor.
yeah,
That makes a lot of sense. That makes sense too with the people who are more experienced, but maybe you want to foster a new generation of talent, so you let that new generation come in, but the experience of the old guard is still there as a guiding force. That's a perfect balance. But to Phil's point, I think the industry has been looking at everything except actual love for comics and merit. And when you're not selecting for that, then all of that goes out the window. Just because someone is younger doesn't necessarily mean they're going to bring in something fresh and new. They also have to actually care about the medium.
yeah, yep, I agree. So yeah, that could be. I guess that's one. I don't know, a couple of different ways you could take it, but one is that there's kind of a missing class of editors that would be like the Karen Berger type, where they actually have interest in bringing in new talent, not bringing in like their activist friends or whatever. Which that it feels like that era is ending. And I don't like getting gaslit that it never happened either. Not that that does happen.
Henry Bemis says young people used to be assistant editor, not editor. I don't think young people be need. It's like being president. You can't be president if you're under 35 because you just don't have life experience. I don't think young people should even be assistant editors. Like a lot of people that are assistant editors, it effectively are glorified secretaries at this point. I mean, just speaking completely frankly, assistant editors should be the people that are still experienced writers that are about to be that master level but aren't quite there yet. It should be a transitionary phase. Like you need experience.
Yeah. And that actually, if you hear stories about like first jobs of when they did break in, a lot of times the jobs were kind of interesting, and some of that has changed. So like a lot of it was like inking backgrounds or whatever. Like, yeah, ink some backgrounds on a few issues of this and this and this. You're kind of in the office. They all go to an office. So like it'd be like a 16-year-old kid inking backgrounds, and then then you're doing this, then you're doing this. You would learn so much, and you'd be around these pros. That would be such a good way to do it. We don't really have that, but I wonder if there maybe is a comparable for like at least like what an entry level job could be, and it could be like, I don't know if there's like the type of a book that, yeah, they're like, you can do art on this, and it's okay if the art isn't perfect or whatever, or like
We should
breakdowns
have
or
that.
something.
Yeah, inking, but there was still that. So Studio Gaijin in Atlanta, they've disbanded, but they would take the art students from SCAD. I knew people who did this, to ink their backgrounds, spot the blacks, and just do the busy work around the studio. And everyone who got that internship, there were like the best seniors of the sequential art department would get an internship with Gaijin Studios, and they learned. Everyone who did it said they learned so much. And that's the only case I know of. I know that happened with other studios, but I don't think that happens anymore. What current comic artist studio or collaborative is taking on a system? I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I don't hear about it's not industry standard is what I mean. And that should be the standard because it's and just one more thing. I think another issue, flatting, yes, by God, yes, start out with flatting is painstaking, busy work. But you know what? You learn if you're that close to someone's ink, you learn a lot about the art as you do the flats, and you're going to be talking to colorists. You learn about the coloring process. You learn about production. That's a great suggestion. I think there's this sense that people want to jump in and just start making a comic without knowing anything. Everybody wants their own series before they're ready, and that's probably not well. That's admirable. That's not always the best route to go. We need a apprenticeship system. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's a great point. I agree fully. I was just trying to ruminate on, like, I wonder where the break-off happened. Like, if you have old experienced people that they like, why would I want to train the next generation when I could, like, pursue getting a Netflix series? You know what I mean? But moving on to other mediums, there's kind of like, there was that idea, right? Instead of staying and fostering talent in this industry, take what they have and try and make it in other industries.
I think that that happened when comics became R&D for Hollywood. When comics aren't R&D for Hollywood, comics are comics. Like, I think the whole MCU stuff kind of, like, it's great that those movies happened, but it didn't help comics. It wasn't viewed as this is a great way to promote comics. It was now comics are R&D for movies. It was taken the completely wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still kind of, there's still a little bit of that going on. Yeah, because I wonder, there's a few companies, like you hear them, like there's like Distillery, like DSTLRY.
Yeah.
And then there's like Mad Cave Studios. Who's the one that publishes Sean Gordon Murphy now?
Massive.
Yeah, so there's these ones where they're kind of separate from like IDW, Dark Horse, these ones you think about. They're these new sort of like startups in the past few years. They all feel pretty damn legit. They're hiring. Well, this is one of the things, like the people they're hiring, it's weird. So they're getting into it. It feels like a lot of them are getting into it for the wrong reasons. They're getting into it because trying to get some of that Hollywood money, and which is that era is kind of already ending. So they might be losing a fair amount of money. But then, their plan, it's a little bit of the abundance versus scarcity thing. Like, they will only hire masters, but a lot of times when you hire masters like that, they're like, their heart isn't in it really even, so, and they're just trying to get a Hollywood paycheck or something. So some of those projects aren't catching the zeitgeist at all or have less of a chance. And then, I wish they would hire, if there was a young, weird startup like that, like Distillery, they should try and do the Karen Berger thing. They should look at crowdfunding, try and find some talent, and try that. Like, that should be one of the things that they try. But they're kind of scared or something, or whatever reasons. But
well, at least Mark Miller seems to be doing it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's an interesting first step. I don't know. But
we do have a meme.
Yeah.
The meme.
When you pull up that one? And I have last week's, so I'm going to pull it up real fast too. Let me see. Hold on.
Alex super chatted you.
Yeah, hold on. Oh yeah. Meme DM'd it. Here's the last week's. So it's called Brooding, Michael. Is this a bad time? And then here's Jake. Oh no, what have I done? Anyway, I lost an entire summer playing Civilization 3. That's funny.
Thanks for the $5, Alex. I'll say it.
Say what?
He pulled up his super chat, went blah blah blah, and then let it go and just closed it. Poor Alex.
I'm doing what he said. He said, "Look at the meme," and so, I don't know. And then
this is
Bancroft
last
says,
week's meme.
Yeah, Civ 4 is not way better, Admiral Warecast. Civ 3 was like the last one where it wasn't 3D. It was nice 2D art. It was beautiful, tile-based. And there were a bunch of exploits that you could do that got fixed in later games. I think you could stand on mountains in Civ 4. Or you couldn't stand on them anymore. Mountains used to give you a 100% attack bonus when you attacked from them, and then in Civ, never mind.
Thank you.
Civ
That,
3
Murder
that is
grade.
me from last week's. I'm stamped out.
Yeah, I'm on the monitor because I came in late.
We were redesigning characters, so that's
Here's
the
old Sonic,
redesigned
that's great.
Bancroft.
Sanic.
Does anyone have the new meme? I can't find it. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Alex said he has to edit it. So,
Oh, okay.
Alex, if you're ready
Oh,
with
okay.
it,
So maybe it isn't up.
let
yet.
us know. Yeah,
I mean,
he said
I have it, but if he's editing it, then I'll let him.
Did you take it down?
I'm watching chat.
Me too.
Yeah, wait, I found it. He posted it. So should Alex, do you want us to not look at it because you're
5
checking it?
minutes ago.
I think it's up.
died.
Yeah. So
He probably, if he says he needs to edit it, and that was 1 minute ago, and the meme was posted 5 minutes ago, then this is the Alex of the future, and the one who posted the meme is the Alex of the past. So we should trust modern cyberpunk Alex.
Alex,
Future
confirm
Alex?
if you want us to wait.
What?
Harry Meme says Civ 3 was awesome, but I always ended up nuking my enemies and destroying the planet. That is the entire appeal of the game, Henry. You get tanks and mechs. They have spearmen. You save the game. You nuke the shit out of the entire planet of spearmen and basic tribal civilizations. Then roll back the save, and now everyone is at peace once more. No more nukes. But then you have loads of ICBMs that you can't really do anything with. So Emerald Wacka says, "Is Bancroft a slug?" He's Batman. He's carnal Batman, but his face is in there. He said that's like the redesigning machine.
Alex says he edited a tweet. It's good to go.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't look any different to me.
He's a perfectionist.
It's probably something that's hidden, you know.
Pretty much looks the same, Alex.
Perfection.
Okay, I'm pulling it up. 1 second here.
I like this Life of Brian Elden Ring mashup.
Oh yeah. Life
I
of
want
Brian.
to go do a one shot. We should go on a road trip to Brazil, hit all the conventions, scoop the cream off the top of the milk across Brazil, then make a new studio to fund new talent.
Ooh, this sounds sexy.
If only we could just drive to Brazil.
Wait,
Without-
what's up with their milk? They have creamy milk.
In Brazil?
Look at Mudan got shot. Rise,
Oh,
tanks,
Bonaparte.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Oh my god.
Cyberpunk.
Phil,
This
wanna
is
read yours?
wild.
Hey, is that me? Let's see. This is what I would do. The Del Toro film, The Shape of Water. He finds out his father is a giant mutant Alice.
Nice. The taint is the land between the sun and the moon.
He's a little Chadley, but also an asshole, a little murdery, right?
Is that you trying to do British, but you end up sounding Chinese?
Yes.
You did, Chadley.
He's like a high priest of Dick Drenachrome. I want to see the adventures of little Chadley.
Dick Drenachrome should be in the Carnal universe.
Dick Drina.
Okay, Dick Drenachrome. Well, I might not call it that, but it's yes. I can imagine. Yes, that it actually fits into the magic system. It does.
Perfectly into the magic system.
It fits. Dick Drenachrome fits into the magic system.
Oddly enough.
Oddly enough, would you believe it?
Here's Cyberpunk Napoleon. That's
Oh,
kinda
look,
awesome.
he looks like a badass. That's
Ah,
awesome.
that's great.
Dude,
That's like-
Cyberpunk Napoleon, that alone is a fun comic. We can do that. He is the
Well,
taint.
history
Rise,
repeat-
taint.
History repeats itself, but with
We
robot
must take
humans.
back France.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. The AI becomes so self-aware and longs to have human experience, so it makes its own history by repeating everything humans have done to fully know what it means to be human and be part of a civilization.
That's
know-
not bad. That's funny about like if you have infinite data, like the AI could do that.
Mhm.
If it's like I actually made like 8 billion like souls and then ran the simulation over a billion years, and this is what I found out. And they're like, "What'd you find out?" And he's like, "What does they say the meaning of life in the Hitchhiker's Guide? Do you guys know that one?
42.
Yeah. It's 40.
The answer to the ultimate question.
Yeah.
But then they
What's
don't
the
know the
answer to the
question.
ultimate question of life, the meaning of life and everything?
Yeah, it's like 42. There is a theory about AI where if it is advanced enough and you can feed it enough information, and it could simulate reality well enough, you can like roll back history and see what would have happened.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like
That
if you
is-
teach it all of physics and you have like actual accurate information about like history that we know, it could find all the gaps and all the errors and then like roll back history and see the deterministic precursor to everything. And you could go back in time, but in an AI,
that's
like,
what Assassin's Creed is, right?
like Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
No,
Yes, that dude, the Assassin's Creed concept is so cool, and they just killed it.
Yeah. How many PB sandwiches?
Oh, the
Philosopher's
question.
Stone. Do you know the Philosopher's Stone? They had to pee and then boil down their pee for like 15,000 peas over 10 years or something. And it was super stanky, but it ended up glowing and they were super stoked. And I think I forget why pee glows if you boil it down really a ton. But is it because it's phosphorus? I forget.
It probably doesn't.
Oh, it does. If you boil it down for 10 years.
He's like, I tried it.
Yeah.
10 years ago, he had a vision.
And then what happens?
Well, they're like, dude, it glows. It's a philosopher's stone. They're like, what else does it do? And he's like, it glows.
Admiral Mike is saying it's a kidney stone. Is this the new conspiracy? That's why when you get a kidney stone, they're like, we have to break that up. And they break it up into tiny little pieces and you pee it out. Because if you managed to pee out one entire full-size kidney stone, you would have a philosopher's stone.
Oh, dude, I think you
You
might
just
be
cracked the
onto
code.
something there. Yeah, because that might be what a kidney stone is. I don't even know. But yeah, the pain of passing it is like the wisdom that you gain.
Yes,
it makes
it's
total sense.
for real. It's similar to the wisdom you gain through suffering through the pain of gout.
Yeah.
It's
Which
caused by the
also
same thing.
involves crystals. Gout involves crystals.
Oh my god, the wisdom from the crystals. Alex is probably so pissed off that this can't go into the meme because it's post meme. But yeah, I gaining the wisdom from the crystals, the gout crystals.
You watch. He is furiously editing the meme again right now.
Yeah. Okay, well we'll wrap it up, but maybe let's promote. Let me see what I can do. Can you guys pull up your campaigns and I share your screen? Can we do that?
Sure.
Let's do that.
Let me see here. Her.
Well, I forgot my URL. Can
Yeah.
anyone remind me of it?
Oh my
Dick
god.
Blue Axe comic, I think.
I'm a dickhead.com.
Big Blue Ass Comics.
Big
Ass comics. That's your URL.
ass titties.
Big ass.
comics.
Yeah, everybody go back. Psycho Slumber. We're on our second 30 days on this bad boy. And we are going to have an announcement about a new cover very soon. And yeah, we got new colors in, which I just showed up earlier. Some more kick-ass colors of Jazz fighting with Finch. And all the line art is completely done on this bad boy. We're just getting it colored right now, and then I'm going to be lettering it. We're going to be sending it off to the printers. It's 60 pages self-contained. You guys have heard it. And if you guys weren't here earlier, we showed this piece off, which is a crazy kill shot double page spread of Simon doing what he does best, slashing fools out here. Spread the word. We are almost to 7K, so that would be awesome if we got to 7K this weekend.
Go back to that art real fast.
Yeah,
and zoom in on the guy getting slashed, because I want to think what his last thought is, because he can't think fast enough to be like, oh fuck,
right.
I think I'm dead. I think that might be what he's thinking. He's definitely thinking some basic thing like, oh shit, he got me.
Yeah, he's not having a good day. All right. And this is this is in a dream too, but in our book, all of his guts do spray out in reality as well.
Nice.
So we see that like on the next page, all the splatter, people standing around him. So there's gonna be more of that in the book. So jump over here, grab the book, the shirt. We also have original art on here too, if you guys are into that. And hopefully next week we'll have something awesome to show for an update for this bad boy. But thank you guys for making it happen for us.
Sweet.
Nice.
And then tomorrow I'll be streaming too with my brother.
This isn't my campaign, but to make it go full circle, right at the beginning we were talking about Venomized. How Irene should pretty much do just an entire art book of Venomized characters and basically make all the money. But yeah, so we have, nice hedgehog here.
Venomized hedgehog. Oh my god.
Venomized hedgehog.
Of course.
Awesome.
Adorable. Cutest hedgehog there ever was.
Oddly adorable. But yes, instead of looking in that horror show of a Venomized hedgehog, you can go to connellcomic.com or bluedickaxe.gov.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. On the 24th, on a Thursday. So we're launching this book finally. Connell the Barbarian. It's going to be amazing. I'm working my ass off every day. I wish I could be doing other stuff that's more fun, but I'm still having fun. It's just, all work and no play is making Jake a dull motherfucker. But I'm enjoying coloring the pages. Finally, I get to color this shit. I'm loving it. But yeah, 2 weeks. We're going to be launching on Bancroft's channel on a Thursday. Then we'll be carrying the party on Creative Block. Bancroft says comics are fun, Jake. They are fun. This is your life now. Yes, this is my life. Chained to a desk forever, and I crave it. You can get signed up. You want to get signed up? Anyone who backs the book and who was on the mailing list before we go live will get a free training card. It's all the way down here. It is drawn by Irene herself. A wonderful non-venomized hedgehog. So yeah, you'll get this nice trading card. Yeah, it's going to be a fun campaign. It's my comedic fantasy. It's like a genre parody of both fantasy and hentai. It follows the adventures of the titular Connell as he tries to save his home, the Simonian Forest, from an evil block invasion. The only problem being that he has a terrible erotic curse that he must keep locked within, which is fine in the Simonian Forest because there's not usually women around because it's a dangerous forest. But there is a mysterious. Suddenly, there are a small group of basically block broodmothers that are specifically designed to be all about that D. So as those two elements collide, who knows what's gonna fucking happen? So yeah, part 1 is gonna be a 44-page romp, which I'm really excited for. There are some there's a big joke reveal at the end that I'm kind of looking forward to people reading I hope it will be a joke that is close to everyone around here's heart. But yeah, I'm launching on Bancroft's channel on the 24th in 2 weeks. So get signed up. I've had a couple of signups recently, so that's been very refreshing.
You should sign up, and if you aren't convinced yet, if you guys don't follow Jake on Twitter, you've been posting pages.
Yeah.
So that's not on the sign up page yet, but Jake has a few finished pages and they look really good. And it's a hint at the humor of the book too. So first of all, shout out where people can follow you, and also everyone go check out Jake's Twitter and sign the fuck up.
Yeah, the
So-
colors
Yeah,
look
you wanna-
awesome, dude. Those turned out
Thank
really good.
you. Wait, I could probably bring up a colored page. Actually, I know I
You
didn't show it
should.
off. Okay. I'll just was that.
Show how
was
you
that
color
okay for
that
my-
side boob.
Oh, that little shine. When I'm coloring it, the way I rendered is like makes it look like a 3D model sometimes. Okay. Let's get the side boob shine. It is censored, so it's okay. Here is the first colored page that I posted on Twitter at HyperWizArt. Camel says he doesn't like Jake's art, but it looks passable. Well, I'm glad. I'm very grateful of all the kind words, Camel. But yeah, look at the little fucking boob shine. It's like, okay, cell shaded, I get it, but like, but did it break? But like, put one tiny little shine here, and like, and then suddenly it becomes a delicious orb of billowing flesh. But like,
Billowing
even, I've been putting the extra effort in. I'm like, I want to put bounce light in for once. So there's like all this reflected light down here. But yeah, this is like even down here.
Oh,
Yeah, the
look
shine.
now.
That's funny. The shiny highlights do add a little something, but it's not too much extra work.
No, that's
What are
awesome. Yeah.
What are you doing? Is that a little airbrush with glow
It's
or whatever?
no. It's like a literal cell shaded circle, just smudged a tiny bit, set to add
Oh, okay.
blend
Awesome.
mode. And it's just smudged a tiny bit. Like Clip Studio is so good for the coloring in this style, because like basically you cell shade and then you can use the smudge tool in finger rub mode, and you basically where the shadows are getting softer, it's just more rubbed, and where they're harder, it's like less blurred. But you can do that as if you're painting, like with the pen, and it ends up so in 3D rendering, this would look like a surface that has like very sharp curvature, like it's almost like a block. And then this would feel more, where it's softer, it feels more rounder, and it just ends up looking weirdly 3D. Yeah, but
Yeah, that's cool.
So squishy.
you do the same thing. You do okay. Inside this leg is a good example of it, of like how stuff can end up looking 3D. You have this soft gradient here for the leg, but then you have the hard gradient of the context shadows of the other side of the cooch. And it just makes it kind of lean towards like 3D rendering stuff. I mean, it doesn't look 3D. It's just like taking the best parts of that. And like out of all of this, the most shiniest orb is like right up here in the fucking corner.
The most accentuated.
Yeah, the shiniest glowing orb. So
Hey,
yeah, if you want to
Zoom
watch,
in on that bone dagger hand thing.
yeah,
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that looks nice in 3D. The hand and the bone looks very.
yeah.
good.
Look at this shadow, the harsher shadow cutting into the softer gradient. I love it. But it's so fun to do this in clip. I love coloring.
So do you get that bounce light? Same thing. So you're using 3 tones there, and then it's blurring.
Yeah. So there's it's easier shown on truffle. So over here, this is actually shadow here. Like this is the lighter color, and it's just a soft gradient into this shadow. And then this is just another color set to add, and you just shade it as if it's like light coming from the ground. It's like on these two as well on her ass. So it's literally just another light. It's kind of like a highlight that you put in the shadow.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to like doing so much of this stupid rendering, which is too much for internals, and doing it over and over again so I can get really, really fast at it. And so, because this took me quite a bit of time, too much time really for getting the campaign done. I should have done something simpler, but I didn't want to. I'm looking forward to, by the end of this book, being able to do this really, really, really fast. Because there is a technique and a method. It's like literally over here. This is the base. There's like the base color, a highlight, shadow, and then reflected light in the shadow. This is reflected light in the shadow, and it's literally just cell shading with just a smudge.
Oh no, he's roboting. You're roboting.
Yeah.
Why do some have tails and others don't? Well, there's only one with a tail, and she is considered the ugliest block of the brood. She's like this is Truffle, and she is the bottom of the pile when it comes to all the rejects, making her the horniest because she is the least indulged. But yes, she is the only female with a tail, and she's also the only female with a snout, which in block culture is considered like a masculine thing. Not even most of the males in this group of blocks even have that snout. So she's very unfortunate, and but she kind of deserves it. If you end up finding more about a character, she kind of.
Oh, she is horrible, but
She's a piece of work. I wanted to make a character that makes you feel concerned for Connell whenever you see her on the page.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Nice.
Fun but
so yeah, keep us
terrifying.
posted. It's launching next week or
2 weeks.
On 2 weeks on the 24th, we're launching on Bancrofts. I think earlier on in the day because he does earlier streams, and then we'll carry it on Creative Block.
Nice.
yeah, that
Perfect.
should be my week. Cool.
Emerald says she's trans. No, it's not that. Sorry.
No, that is I don't know if Trouble's trans. Anyways, and here's my comic. I have boobage also, though it is mostly just one set belonging to Ragna. I don't have a current live campaign, but as you all hopefully know, you can always get my books in the Fiendish shop right here, fiendishcomic.com. 1, 2, and 2.5 are all available and in stock. I just mailed out a bunch of store orders. I had to catch up on store orders because I had a bunch piling up over my convention trip to Mexico and other stuff. But all store orders except one, someone just ordered a book yesterday, so thank you very much. But so that has to go out, but everything else has been shipped, so I'm very grateful. Of course, I have other kinds, all kinds of wall art. I have my map and knickknacks and merch, so check it out. And the one thing I want to shout out today is Le Blog. The blog has a pass holder system. It's essentially a Patreon-like subscription system that's built into the website, which I think is really cool. And I spent a lot of time setting up, so I hope people are compelled to use it. And I would be grateful if people are interested. Even if you're not and you don't, you just want the books, that's of course totally fine. I do have blog posts on here with important updates. See, here's when I was supposed to go to Heroes Con. Here's a sneak peek of some pencils from Fiendish 3 that this was released early for only people that subscribed on the blog and for YouTube members and such, but now it's public because it's been a couple of weeks. But here's a double spread from Fiendish 3. So I'm slowly but surely working on. Those are pencils, guys. I'm still working on pencils. I know it's too detailed. I'm trying to not over detail things. It's hard. It's I can't help myself. But yeah, now that I am charging ahead on Fiendish 3, I'll be posting more updates on here. So you'll probably get similar content if you subscribe to the blog or are a YouTube member. I'm going to start posting members only updates on both platforms. So if you'd like to see some behind the scenes stuff, do check it out there. And yeah, thanks. Stay tuned, guys.
Nice.
Always something new on the site. I love that.
Looks great. What are you drawing Fiendish 3, Rini, these days? What are you working on?
Well, right now I'm working on auction stuff and Comic-Con. Like this month has been really taken up by Comic-Cons, and I have a couple of covers that are really due soon. So this month not so much, but I plan on doing almost nothing but Fiendish 3 next month. I have a bunch of pages penciled, so I'll be inking those. I have the cover that needs to be inked too, so I'll just be doing all of that. And I'm very excited because I can't wait to get back. It's gonna look so good. I want every book to look better than the last, and also the story is. I just had like a breakthrough on the story about the story on the way back from El Paso on the plane. I just had this epiphany, and it was perfect. And I can't say anything about it, but more will be revealed in Fiendish 3. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Hell yeah.
Next year, launching next year. Woo!
Yeah, I think I got a notification that there's a new Fiendish something on Global Comics. Is that right?
Yeah. 2.5 is also on Global Comics.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have the digital on the website yet, but 1 and 2, I'll just click to 2. Here I have, if you just click through, read the comic. Hopefully this is very intuitive to navigate. You can buy the physical book. You can read it right here on the website, where I have a built-in website reader that has extra content, and then you can read it on Global Comics. So, boop, here you go. This is chapter 2 about Fiendish overview. Yeah, 1, 2, and 2.5 are all on here. And I think you have to register an account, and I'm not actually sure how it works, because Global Comics gives you a certain amount of free reads every month, so I kind of just use that. But it's for a few bucks every month. You just can read a massive amount of comics on this platform. They have they have everything from Vault. They have a bunch of stuff from, I think, Dark Horse now. So they're really growing their platform. And yeah, I'm very happy to be on here. It's been great. And check out Fiendish.
This probably sounds like a weird call to action thing, but I mean this earnestly. If you guys go to Global Comics and make an account, and you can view like all three, like you guys all have global stuff on Global Comics right now, right? I think even you have Earthbound at the novel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can read the comics, but also if you follow Irene, Phil, and Noel, whenever they put something new out, you'll get a notification. They come up all the time. I see like it pop up, like Hellion Arts released Fiendish 2.5, and it's like shit, okay, and then I read it straight away. So it's good to go over there and read, but like click the follow thing and you get notifications when new stuff gets put out.
Yeah, actually I would really appreciate that. I don't ask people to actively just go to Global Comics and give Fiendish a like. A comment would be nice, but even just a like, that's really easy. It doesn't, cost anything at all. I would really appreciate that, because it helps boost the series. And us in indies, we depend on the audience for advertising a lot. So much appreciated. Thanks, guys.
Nice. Yeah, and I have one thing is I have been getting ready the Nosferatu campaign.
Yeah.
And I teased a cover like 6 months ago, but I keep messing with it. So I got a new cover. This is, I think, going to be the final cover.
Oh.
And
nice.
Yeah. So
that figure, I saw you post the lady. Who is that?
She's either Lucy or Mary, depending on what version. I think she's called Mary in my version.
Yeah, it's a beautiful drawing. Very nice.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I saw you post the chick. It was from this piece? That's what the chick you posted was?
Yeah.
I think you mean they're talking about the Salamane drawing that you posted from Hotel Story.
No, because I posted like this cropped in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this will be the cover, and that's the only thing. And then I think I'm going to cut back on the gallery. So it'll be a lot simpler. It'll just be the book, maybe a few gallery pieces. But the campaign too, it's going to have one free mini comic. That'll be kind of a new adventure of the comedy version, which I've been liking to do. I've done a couple campaigns with free mini comics now, and I really enjoy that. But I think for this one, I might actually try and assemble all the mini comics for people, because some people don't assemble them, so they never see the comic. But they get
Yeah.
the kit or whatever, which is kind of fun. But it'll be extra time to assemble. But I don't expect this one to like sell gangbusters. You know, it's just an extra chance for people to pick it up. But the timing, it's going to catch Halloween, and it'll kind of be running around the time when the new movie comes out, the actual Nosferatu movie.
Yeah.
And then just the new comic. It's going on Kickstarter because I want to try Kickstarter. I've never done a campaign, or not in like 10 years at least. I did a super old one a long time ago.
Cool.
But
Yeah. Cool.
yeah, but so this could almost be kind of considered the forever non-crowdfunding cover potentially. One thing is I drew this one, which I'm kind of happy with, so it kind of fits the style a little bit more, although it's a little different even than the interiors. But I really like the other cover, but it does sometimes bug me, or I think a lot of people feel this way if the cover is drawn by a different artist. That's not always ideal. If you could pick one, you might want to pick the one drawn by the artist. So this one, and yeah, and I was thinking about having this one be where I credit myself as Per Berg and not Nosferatu, or not Narwhal, but I might do both or just Narwhal. I'm not sure.
Did you just slip and admit that you're Nosferatu?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. That's an awesome idea. Good. This looks great, dude.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, this is fun because this is traditional. A lot of this is all drawn
yeah?
on paper. The
That's
coloring's
awesome.
digital, but
Yeah, for sure. That's sweet. You'd sell it on the campaign.
yeah, maybe. Well, it's actually like, I'll show you the original. It's buried right now, but
It fell on the shredder by mistake.
yeah, like I did all the blacks digitally, so what got scanned in is like 2 heads basically. So it doesn't look that impressive.
Be interesting to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's all I got to talk about, and then everyone got to promote. So I think we're going to kind of wrap up here.
Share my screen. I got something else from Alex. I must share. This is very
Oh yeah,
important.
I was gonna pull it up.
The
Your kid game is so cute. Oh, okay, that's all. I just had to share that. Bye.
now we need Venom Moodang.
Oh,
Oh, Venom!
my God. What?
Dude, that
if
would
you wanna-
sell so
You
much
are
at
so
stupid New
really
York.
Wait.
excited.
Right. Ready for New York. You need to do a Venom Moodang print.
Yeah, you have to go
I'm trying to do a fucking print.
Done. You gotta
who
do it.
knows? You know what? I am gonna draw it. I'll stay up all night. I'll run to FedEx over
Yes!
the weekend.
Yeah. give me
Okay.
some print. That's hilarious.
Okay. Let's go. Brilliant.
There you go.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to end this stream. Thanks everyone for being here. We'll end it Narwhal style, which means it's just going to end.
Thanks
so I'm gonna
everyone.
click it.
Thanks
So
everyone. Goodbye. See you
tomorrow-
next time.
Bye.
I clicked it.
Bye.